Be quiet.
Alright, there we go. What is going on, good kind of people? Lee and Tammy Sanders here. You're checking out an all-new Wrestling with the Topics for Tuesday night of July 26, 2022. I almost had to think about that one. What's going on, guys? Sometimes these days, they get a little bit mixed up for me, so I sometimes have to stop and think, what day is this? What's the date exactly? Hard to believe, but July 26. Is it just me, or does it feel like the month of July has gone by extremely fucking fast?
Yeah. It has. It has.
Yeah.
You know, you turn around a couple times and it's like, wait a minute, it's mid-month. You know, so.
There you go. Talking to that mic, dude. There you go.
So it does. It feels like, it's like, wait a minute, it's mid-month already. And then, you know, turn around one more time and it's like, oh, wow, pretty much the end of the month.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, as we get older, I think everything just goes faster.
Kind of feels that way. It definitely kind of feels that way at times. It's kind of, I'll never get used to it. Well, they say if you're not really paying attention to time, that if it's passing you by so quickly, they say that typically that may mean you're having a lot of fun or you're not slowing down to stop and smell the roses.
Yeah, good points, and probably both true.
Yeah, they both could be true. They both could be true. You never know. You never know. So, Tuesday night, I know some of you guys are just getting done checking out NXT as it went off the air just a couple of minutes ago. We ain't talking no NXT on this episode. We never talk NXT and all that. But we will be putting Tams on the spot in a little bit, because I definitely want to get your take on this whole shit that had went down with Vince McMahon. And, you know, we got a nice loaded episode for you guys. If you did not check out the synopsis for this week's episode, some really good stuff that we're going to be getting into. Of course, we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that had went down from the San Diego Comic-Con from over the 3-day weekend, technically 4-day weekend. So we're going to cover that. Also, later on during the broadcast, we got for you guys a watch along. Now, I'll be providing the link for you guys, for you audio lovers out there. I'll have a link in the episode description so that you guys can easily watch right along with us. Everybody else that happens to be tuning in right now, you guys that's going to be coming into the Discord, we're actually going to be providing a share screen, so that's how the people in the Discord will be able to see what we're looking at while we're commenting. So that's our workaround, because your man over here had tried his best going on the I had it nice and laid out. Everything was nice and beautiful. I had the template, I had everything laid out for the watch along via YouTube, right? Well, multiple platforms, but YouTube apparently was giving us a headache, right down to the point when I had did the initial test stream earlier today, Tams. Our YouTube stream actually got interrupted. We were live and it actually got interrupted. I was probably only about 10 minutes in and our shit got interrupted. I'm going, what the fuck? And then I got an email saying, oh, YouTube is claiming some of your visuals belonging to them. So once you remove these visuals, you can resume your current stream. I'm going, nah, that's okay. Fuck that. And I did a watermark and everything, y'all. I did a watermark and everything. So yeah, let me actually show you guys some of the thumbnails here that I had. You know, it was nice. It was a nice little setup that I had going on.
Yeah, guys, while he's looking that up this morning, he had this elaborate plan in reference to a workaround early this morning. And I said, I don't know. You know how they are. And he's like, well, I don't know. Let me try it. I was like, okay. See what you can do.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were like, nope.
They were like, nope. All right. So you guys, if you're in the RCWR chat room, you can see the image that I just posted up. So in that centerpiece where you see Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels, basically, once I would transition to the video would take that main image's place beautifully. And then as the action was playing, we had a very faint watermark of our Wrestling with the Topics logo over the in-ring content, everything that was being displayed. So it looked, distorted, but not severely distorted in a way you ain't know what the hell was going on. I didn't fucking go overkill with it. It was just a nice little faint watermark. I'm going, okay, yeah, we should have no problems with this. We're not gonna, we shouldn't hear anything from WWE, especially since I had disabled the audio. And sure enough, like I said, 10 minutes in, WWE was like, nope. I'm going, oh, motherfucker. So that also explains why William Regal's joint is no longer on YouTube. So we think, because I'll let it out the bag now. I had got inspired by what I saw William Regal and my friend and Matt Coon. I had saw what they did, because they did a watch along of William Regal's last match, which was against Cesaro in NXT. And I had loved the way that they went about their watermark. It was their watermark that I was really paying attention to. And I'm going, wow, I'm like, well, shit, if they're not getting in trouble for this. And I came back a couple of days later to see if it was still there. And it was still there, had racked up a decent amount of views. I'm going, oh, okay, well, shit. All right, cool. So this is how I do it. All right, who better? This is how I do it. Well, let me finish.
Okay.
So then what should have been a red flag for me was last night, out of curiosity, I went on William Regal's YouTube channel to see if that video was still there. And I didn't see it anymore, because I remember it was like a whole fucking episode. And I'm going, hey, it's no longer here. Like, that's kind of... And then I'm thinking, well, maybe it's because what he was doing, it's mainly for the Patreon. Maybe they had that unlocked by accident. Maybe that was supposed to be like a Patreon exclusive or something, right? That's how I chalked it up in my head. And I didn't think anything else, much of it. But then, again, this is what happens when you're working on audio files, voiceovers late at night. Sandman starts to kick in, but you're just kind of running on fumes. You're just a zombie. You're just going with the flow. It didn't click in my head. Well, dude, until earlier today, dude, just go back, check out the URL that you had initially, see if the video is still right. Didn't click in my head until after I did everything that I was trying to do with our stream. And that basically, they had gotten in trouble with WWE. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when it gets yoinked, that pretty much means y'all got in trouble.
It just sucks that, like, and I'm not taking any shots at WWE. I just think it sucks that in 2022, when all you're being guilty of is commentating over, right? Mm-hmm. It's a sticky situation because on the one hand, if you were to say to me, okay, if you're presenting it in a way where you have a watermark over it, it's distorted, blah this, blah that, all right, and the ad revenue is going to come to us, okay, all right, you know what? Yeah, we can accept that, right? Mm-hmm. For old footage, of course, I'm talking about. But no way in hell should you be able to go live, during a pay-per-view. And no, you definitely shouldn't be able to do that. I just think it's very weird because it's not the same issue when it comes to audio content. So, for example, many people probably don't know this, but the show intro that I push for the webcast is like there's two different audio intros that folks hear. So for the webcast version, folks basically hear an instrumental version of A Tribe Called Quest, You Should Know. Love A Tribe Called Quest, like one of my favorite all-time bands of all time, right? So I actually did try to reach out to whoever was in charge of the copyright and all that for that song and say, hey, I would like to officially, get this song as the official theme for my show and everything. I'd like to try to work out a deal, that that might be feasible for you guys. You tell me your price and, if I can pay it, great. And I didn't hear anything back from them. So I just said, well, you know what? What's the worst thing that can happen? They basically will claim the song in a match party content ID, and then any ad revenue, they'll just, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what happens. Meanwhile, when people check out the show for on demand and on the downloads, very seldom will they hear the Tribe Called Quest joint. Nowadays, I'm pushing something that I had a guy made, all original. Great guy. I think Frank. Is it Frank? Or I think it's Frank. I think Frank is his name. Frank had made it for me and everything, including some buffers, all that. So it's like two different type of experiences and all that. But to my point, I like how with YouTube, it's basically, the artists are friendly. The musical artists, they're more friendly to the content creators. They're like, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. We can. I don't know. I just wish that,
Well, I think it really is one of those double-edged swords. I agree with your point, but you always have people who want to push that limit.
That is also true.
So with pushing that limit, it really gets in the way of people who are trying to do it right, people who are trying to just, have a good time, have some, fun playing time, stuff like that, and just go with it like that. But you have all the people who are trying to push the envelope. So when is enough is what I'm saying.
Right. And
now with them, it's like, okay, well, enough is enough. Basically, our content, no. It's it's sad for the people who want to do it right, but then you
said it perfectly. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah. You nailed it perfectly. So that's our workaround for tonight. We do have a workaround with that, so stick around for that. That should be pretty good. I am just full of research too when it comes to getting ready to talk about that match, everything leading up to it and everything. Of course, I'm talking about Ric Flair versus HBK, Shawn Michaels, Wrestlemania 24 from March of 2008. Nice prelude to what is to come for this weekend, as it's going to be Ric Flair's supposed last match. That whole pay-per-view card, it looks really good. For those of you that maybe money is a little bit tight, you're unfortunately not going to be able to check out that pay-per-view. I will actually be ordering it officially in just a couple of hours, waiting for the eagle to land, as we used to say in Chicago. Shout out if you. That's the first time I ever heard it. First time I ever heard that it was in Chicago, and I remember when I started saying it in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. People were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I had to hip them like, "Well, in Chicago, when the Eagle has landed, that's our way of saying the postman has delivered your money, right?
Yep.
You got paid." You're like, "Oh."
That's funny because I used to hear that when I was younger. So that's funny that you got that reaction.
Yeah. Most people in D.C., Maryland, Virginia, when I was saying that, they didn't know what the fuck I was saying. They would just kind of look at me like, yeah, like, what the fuck is he talking about? Yeah. Kind of like that, But, what were we, oh, yeah. So I ordered it. So for those of you that's, money's a little bit tight, you're not going to be able to check out the Ric Flair joint for, was it Sunday? I think it's going to be going down. I actually will be showing the pay-per-view. Now, here's what I don't know. It just fucking dawned on me. Is SummerSlam a 2-night event?
You told me before it was.
Okay, so, wow. That's like my first time really. I know SummerSlam is on Saturday, but I don't recall WWE promoting it as a 2-night event. So I'm a little bit kind of lost right there. So I'm actually looking at the SummerSlam card right now just to see what they're doing for this year. Yeah, I can't believe that never fucking dawned on me if it was a 2-night or a 1-night event. All right, so I'm seeing July 30th, which is on a Saturday. Which is on a Saturday. Okay. I'm scrolling down. I'm looking at the card. Okay, so they went back to a 1-night event.
Oh, okay, great.
Well, yeah, they went back to a 1-night event, so it's going to be 9 matches during, okay. Oof, that's going to be a long night, huh?
Yeah, that's going to be a long night.
Damn, that's going to be a long night. I kind of liked it when it was a 2-night event, honestly, but, we'll see how long. That's the thing. We'll see how long. Are they going to go as long as those AEW pay-per-views, if not longer, or how they going to do it? We'll see. We'll see. But so Sunday will be the Ric Flair joint. So for those of you that's going to be around, definitely go into the Discord. I'll actually be having a live watch along. You'll be able to actually watch the event, all that. Only thing I ask, 2 things. Only thing I ask is that if you're going to share the link, do it privately. We don't need to get the Discord in trouble. And 2, just make sure you say thanks.
And smash that subscribe button.
Yeah, that's the ultimate compliment too, is definitely subscribe to a motherfucker's YouTube channel and all that. We were talking about relaunching a store, and I was taking a look at how we've been doing with our subscribers and everything, and we kind of came to a really good conclusion. Originally I wanted to see 12,100 subs, and the way YouTube is projecting it, they pretty much got us hitting that, I think they said before the end of August. And so I said to Tams, I said, yo, why don't we go on ahead and why don't we open up a store again? Why don't we reopen one, put some shirts, put some, right? Because currently the only way you can access stuff like that is through our Patreon. But I was like, not everybody wants to, sometimes people just want to, represent right then and there, right? They don't want to wait a couple of months just to get access to a perk and, right, get something that way. So, but Tams, Tams was more realistic. She said, that 12,100, that's going to come in like fucking no time. How about 12,500 subs? Like, that seems to be more. That's another thing about it. I'm like, yeah, that kind of. So there's going to be a 2-part phase. I'm going to put out a poll. You guys will see it first thing Wednesday. It's going to ask you guys, hey, if we were to relaunch a store, legit, would you come out of your pocket? Would you represent? Would you buy some merch? Right? Would you buy some merch pretty much on a regular basis? I'm not saying you got to empty out your whole fucking bank account. Just every couple of months.
Would you show love? Would you support that endeavor, in reference to, supporting the show in that way? I will tell you some of the designs that I've seen prior and previous have been pretty badass. but it's just kind of, would you?
Right.
Would you like to, whatever, what have you? And if that is a legit, hey, yeah, support, I want to. Wonderful. We appreciate you.
Right.
So, it's just kind of like, okay, let's poll the people. And then once we do that, then let's get those subscribers up to that 12,500.
12,500, yeah.
And you know what? And then, hey, guess what? Store launches.
Right. Because, see, in regards to the store launching this, so that there's full transparency, once we hit the 12,500, then it's okay. All right, so not only people support the content, but, those that were polled, they do legit want, right? Because you guys that have your own shows, or you've probably heard about it from other shows, you guys know the deal by now. You get a bunch of motherfuckers, I say that nicely, yeah, man, I'll represent, yeah, fuck yeah. And then you got like 5-10 fucking cool ass designs, and then a motherfucker goes, oh, I would, but I ain't got the money,
or you don't hear nothing.
Yeah, you don't hear nothing. So 12,500 subs. And then in regards to the store, here's the other caveat. We're paying for this store. We're actually going to be coming out of our pockets for this store. Maintenance, all that shit. I already did the research. It would cost us $15 a month to make sure that the upkeep, the store stays live, right? Mm-hmm. That's why we're trying to make sure that, okay, well, if we're gonna do this, like it's an understanding amongst all of us, us and you all, that, okay, we're doing this, we're gonna do this together, right down to the point, maybe a listener says, hey, Lee Tams, I got a really cool idea, for a new design, right? Yep. If you were to do this, I fucking would buy that shit.
And maybe that's actually to your point, maybe that's actually an interesting way to get one to say, that's a really cool idea. I think I want that. Hey, have 3 to 5 people submit designs to you. And say, you know what? This is what I think would be a cool ass idea.
That's something. That's definitely something.
It's not something that like right off the bat, but it's definitely something to consider.
It definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. So that's what's going on with that. I was also just reminded as you were talking. I was thinking about what was one of my favorite designs that I had a hand in setting up the blueprint and all that for. I've only seen a few people wear this, so that lets me know, wow, this person goes way back. There is a RCWR show, blah, 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 Yackadie Smackadie. That's actually one of my favorite fucking designs. I gotta see if I can fucking pull that up. I'm not gonna be able to find it tonight. Tell you guys that right now. I'm not gonna be able to find it tonight. But that's actually one of my all-time favorite designs. So that
might be something worth bringing back.
Yeah, there's definitely some retro logos I'm looking at and I'm going, you know what, that was really cool, let's bring that back. That was kind of, I already told him about the 10th anniversary logo. I'm only gonna let that be available to like maybe a handful of people. Like once I get 5 or maybe 10 orders, it's like of that logo that goes out the door, it's pretty much okay, that's it. Right. Kind of make it be one of those once a year. That's one idea, but just make it, based to my point, just make it be one of those. I'm kind of inspired by what Marvel Future Fight had did. Marvel Future Fight, they do this really cool thing where once a year they will release a holiday themed costume for a particular hero. And they do summer and then they do fall. If you miss it, you gotta wait an entire year before it becomes available again. So I kind of like that. It's like, you know what, that'd be kind of something cool to implement, right? Yeah. So we had some interesting shit go down over the weekend in regards to the San Diego Comic-Con. as Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He had showed up. I was reading that and I was just going, I was looking at some of the pictures and I'm going, holy shit, this dude is really fucking representing. This is fucking badass. Dude actually full blown had appeared on stage in his Shazam, his Black Adam uniform. I'm going, oh, that is fucking badass. Like, okay, cool. And once again, shout out to our friend and Julian Cannon from the Wrestling Court, the Nocturnal. He was there for the whole weekend of the San Diego Comic-Con. And as we speak, he is putting up reviews. He's putting up editorial pieces, interviews that he did. Great shit. He actually had an opportunity to meet Dwayne The Rock Johnson, chatted with him for a couple of minutes, took a picture with the man and everything. And like, I'm legit happy for the brother because I've been watching his career and being involved in the entertainment business for a few years now. And it's nice to see the young brother continuing to evolve
and go to a higher level.
Yes. It's very fucking cool. I love seeing it.
It's interesting, as Lee was pointing out to me a couple days ago, when one of the stars actually asked him how his kid was doing.
Yeah, so Norman Reedus, who portrays Dale Dixon on the Walking Dead hit TV show on AMC. I mean, Julian has done a lot of, most people know him from his Walking Dead stuff, his coverage and all that. You know, a lot of times he'll do interviews, he'll talk to the showrunners, the producers, whole nine yards. And yeah, he has become pretty much the entire time that show has been in existence. He has pretty much, almost synonymous. If you're thinking about Walking Dead news, but more specifically, okay, who actually has legit Walking Dead news? They've got their respected sources. The sources have gone on record. I can take this, cash it. It's the gospel. Right. And Julian has, in hard work and due time, he's become that reputable. And he a few times he was able to chat it up with Norman Reedus. And at the San Diego Comic-Con, he bumped into him and everything, and the very first thing that Norman asked him was, "Hey, how's your kid, man? How's your son?" And Julian was really taken back by that because he did not expect for that to happen. Yeah. So pretty badass. Awesome. Yeah, very very fucking badass. So make sure you show him some love because I'm sure that on top of him documenting everything, on the website and all, he's definitely going to be talking about the whole experience more on his show and everything. See, contrary to how some people less than 24 hours ago were trying to paint me out to be, I'm not a bad guy. It's just, so let me set this up properly. So Monday night, I'm going through the whole, the usual spill on the Monday night show. And I'm reacting to the whole news about Vince McMahon, and that's a good segue too. That way we can set Tams up and everything. So I'm talking about the whole Vince McMahon stuff and all that. A continuation from when I initially reacted to the news, what was available at that time, Friday night going into Saturday, right? So Monday night show, I'm going into additional info, and it was a great hangout, by the way. There was a lot of engagement that was going on. It was mainly a case where folks were just interacting with me as opposed to interacting with each other. Folks were just, what I was saying, point, counterpoint. We had a great hangout. That show damn near went 3 hours. That show went damn near 3 hours. Okay. But I had a lot of fun. I found as I've gotten older, I do not personally like it when the shows go that long, right? Because it's not so much a patience thing. My whole thing as I've gotten older is, okay, you know what? I'm getting ready to come right back. There's really no need.
Is this redundant?
Right. I don't want to blow my whole load.
Yeah.
Right. knowing I gotta come right back.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck? So, but no, there was a nice back and forth. Just overall great show. I had this one knucklehead pop up during the stream, and he was all butthurt because apparently I had supposedly blocked his friend that had his own YouTube channel or whatever, and he called me a fake ass. And I'm going, all right, like this show you're talking about, I don't even know. And see, the way some people will play the game, some people will play the game just to try to get some type of buzz for it, right? So I'm going, I never mentioned the name of the show. So I go, well, hang on, let me research this. Let me see what you're talking about here. And to my knowledge, I did not, as far as I was able to tell. Now, granted, I wear glasses these days, but from what I was able to tell, it didn't appear that I had blocked the person. But I tell you what, I did block him after that knucklehead had appeared and had something to say. And I even told the guy, I said, "Are you his lawyer? Are you his personal
his publicist?
Right?
Manager?
Are you his personal bitch or something? Like what's going on here?" I'm like, from what I've seen of the videos, this dude is a grown ass man. So like any issues, he should be able to,
come correct to you.
Right. And it just kind of got into, it just had me go on record. And I definitely want to make sure I double down on this. Because, like, the only time, and Tams knows this very well, the only time that I will block an account is if they are a spammy account. And what I mean by spammy is they're not interacting. And what I mean by interacting, yeah, man, that's a very valid point, but to your point, you got to also consider, okay, so they're on topic. They're not just, they're on topic. They're reacting to what I'm talking about. There is truly engagement that's going on. It's not just, oh, cool. Hey, check out my link, or spamming with a link or, hey, check out my, it's like that. I consider that to be the ultimate disrespect. The ultimate disrespect. Okay, that's like a big. I don't have tolerance for that shit. I mean, teach its own. I don't have tolerance for that shit because it's like, well, how you gonna disrespect me like that? Like if you're not gonna take seriously, if you're not gonna take the time out to give me my proper creds, then it's like, why should I even fucking bother? Wasting my time and energy on right. So. The only other time I will actually block somebody as well, and it's nothing personal, it's just business, is you're not my cup of tea. I don't see myself liking your content. I don't click with you. I just feel I would not gel with you. I'm just gonna block you, that way I don't come across your content again. And it's sad that some people get so bent out of shape, they get so butt hurt, because they don't know what that other person is thinking. Sadly, in this day and age, when they see that they're fucking blocked, some people, they gotta go on a tirade. They gotta moan and groan about it on social media for publicity because it's giving them something to talk about, and then they're hoping that in the process, the few people that are checking out their content will get as mad as they are, and then they'll go tell that, they'll go call some, it's like, I'm in my 40s, I ain't got time for that shit. Plain and simple. I don't like your shit, I'm moving along. Plain and simple. But most of the accounts that I be blocking these days is fucking, most of the content that I be blocking these days are from porn sites. And now I will admit, there are times where people have gotten unintentionally blocked by yours truly. And it's sad. It's sad. And I've been known to go back. Okay, sorry, that was definitely a mistake. Okay, you're good. But I stay these days. There's not a week that goes by. There's not a day that goes by. I'm blocking some type of a spam account. The most notorious spam accounts that I'm coming across these days are the fucking porn accounts.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Oh my fucking God. Whether it's on fucking YouTube, or it's on fucking Twitter. Facebook, I stay getting follows from fake accounts from motherfuckers in India and Africa, fucking Nigeria. Don't have a lick of wrestling reference. I can see what all they like. Nothing. And I'm going, why in the blue fuck are you even following my Facebook page? Like, we have nothing in common. No interest, nothing in common. I block them. Mm-hmm. So to my point, guys, I would have a lot more followers across the whole spectrum of social media platforms if I didn't give a fuck about who's following my shit. So I'm like OCD. Tams will tell you, I literally check every single fucking account that is subscribing or following me to check for validity. Mm-hmm. And once if I even detect a hint of bullshit, I just fucking block them. Mm-hmm. That's how I roll. Mm-hmm. That's how I roll. But I definitely wanted to go more on record and get that out there. You can tell who's, trying to play the game, and then, who honestly means well. They're not trying to cause up anything. It's like, But like I said, I'm in my 40s now. It's like, I ain't got time for that bullshit. It's like, there are people that know, okay, he blocked me. Okay, all right, cool. All right, well, I'll block him too. And we're cordial as fuck if we happen to bump into each other on a server, or, we just respectfully keep our respected distances. Don't say nothing to each other. And, right, there's people that know how to be grown up about it. It's just sad that, for that individual, I'm not sure what he said. I don't care what he said, because I tried to give him the time and day, and I wasn't feeling his content. If it just felt very, and that's not a knock to him. It's just, if I was in my 20s again, or if I was in my teens, I could see myself. It's like, but that's not where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. I don't find that type of content interesting. Mm-hmm. Even right down to the point, if somebody were to say to me, hey, what would you recommend? Like, who do you like checking out when you're not doing your, like, that wouldn't even be on my list. Mm-hmm. Now, if it was maybe, Lee from over 20 years ago, maybe.
Right.
Right. But like,
well, evolution changes people in reference to, their own evolution, basically. What you like, what you gravitate towards. Yeah. And it's just, as we get older, that changes.
So let me ask you, because we did tease it earlier. So how much are you aware of what all has come about with Vince McMahon? What was the last thing you heard, so I can set it up properly for you so you can run with it?
Basically, the last thing I heard was him retiring or stepping down, retiring. Then Brock Lesnar saying, if he's gone, I'm gone, prospectively. Okay. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but that's the rumor mill.
Okay, so in regards to Brock Lesnar did, in fact, make an appearance on that Friday SmackDown.
I did hear
he showed up,
that they got him back.
Supposedly.
That's the rumor mill.
Supposedly. Mm-hmm. He showed up by the end of the show, because the rumor had it he actually was supposed to appear in the opening for the show. But he appeared at the end of the show. He did his business. That pretty much was it. He is still advertised to do his thing at SummerSlam this weekend. So that's the Brock Lesnar factor out the door. Mm-hmm. Now, in regards to Vince McMahon, in a new update, it is apparently, according to the SEC filing and everything, which WWE is trying to be very transparent and everything, Vince McMahon basically turned in his resignation because it turns out that there is over $14 million of unaccounted money that apparently Vince McMahon, for I think over the stretch of damn near over a decade, if not more, there's money that basically when people that be in WWE were checking the books. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
here.
that ain't there.
They were going, wait a minute. There's like 14 million something plus dollars that's unaccounted for. We're trying to connect the dots, and it's not right. What happened to this money? And like, okay, it looks like this is kind of falling into a miscellaneous category, but there's nothing that would justify, right? And to the point that I had made earlier, which was if even one fucking dollar, I said this weeks back, I said if one fucking dollar is unaccounted for, if they're able to establish that Vince McMahon, what he was doing with these women, if he was not doing XYZ with these women out of his own pocket, if just $1 of the company's money was going towards these women, he's done. And in layman's terms, what I basically was saying was embezzlement.
Yeah,
that's basically what I was saying. And sure enough, right?
Yeah, it's definitely more than $1.
It's definitely more than $1, right? But I mean,
but either way,
the point, right?
Either way, it's still embezzlement,
right? So
and misappropriating funds.
Yes. So that's where we are right now with Vince McMahon. Triple H, who it's kind of sad because Friday had kicked off with the announcement of him being named the EVP of Talent Relations.
Yep.
And then the news was also revealed that, he's also going to be in charge of creative. So what should have been all right, it got overshadowed as the stock, Wall Street, they were closing for the weekend. And then no,
really?
No. I'll have an update for the Wall Street numbers. I talked about it on Monday's show, but I'll bring it up in a little bit. But basically, when the Vince McMahon news dropped, right when Wall Street closed, a lot of people were under the impression that it was just gonna be swept under the rug, and obviously it did not, right? So some people are looking at this and they're saying, tomato in regards to Vince McMahon resigning / retiring, but the SEC reporting is saying that no,
that was a resignation.
On top of that, he coughed up his position as creative. He coughed up his position as CEO. He's coughed up his position as chairman. He's coughed up his position as a member of the board. So
So he has no more affiliation with WWE.
Other than stocks, and there was an update in regards to that earlier today, as a matter of fact, in regards to Vince McMahon and his stocks, because it looks like he was off and on over the years. He had been selling stocks, but apparently there was something that had went down earlier today where, Vince McMahon had forfeited some of his WWE shares following the company exit, as a SEC filing was made by WWE earlier this week on Tuesday, announcing that McMahon had divested, divested. Well, obviously you got DIV in there, so apparently there's like some type of division, some type of takeaway or whatever. An SEC filing was made by WWE on Tuesday announcing that McMahon has divested 38,519 shares of stock with approximately 2.7 million.
Wow.
The explanation of the responses, one, consists of a portion of uninvested stock units previously reported in Table 1, which were forfeited by Mr. McMahon in connection with his retirement from the company effective July 22nd, 2022. 2, excludes 100 shares of Class A common stock owned individually by Mr. McMahon's wife, Linda McMahon. Mr. McMahon disclaims beneficial ownership of those shares. Shout out to WrestleNomics Brandon Thurston, who noted on Twitter that the amount equates to 0.01% of McMahon's WWE ownership, writing,
oh, well, that's a slap on the wrist.
Writing, Vince McMahon's forfeit Vince McMahon forfeit a small number of shares relative to his ownership Friday due to retirement, which were uninvested stock units. The 38,519 shares have a market value of $2.7 million. He still has 28.7 million shares.
Oh, well.
38,519 equals 0.1% of Vince's WWE ownership. So that's pretty much where we stand right now in regards to Vince. And then Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, they are now the CEOs.
She's the chairwoman
and the CEO,
and
co-CEO, right? Correct. So that's pretty much where we are with this. So I want to turn it over to you while I enjoy this tea. Have at it. I think the one thing I want to know as you go into this, I'm trying to remember what you had said weeks back when we put you on the spot, because I'm always quick to remind folks, you called it when it came to Undertaker's announcing his retirement, like episode 2 of the Last Ride documentary series, and sure enough, you called it. You dead on accurate. Me and a few others, we thought it'd be kind of silly for him to make his announcement during that miniseries, but you felt it made all the sense. You justified it. Where was your thought process weeks ago on this show when I put you in the hot seat and I said, do you think this is the end of Vince McMahon? What do you remember? What were you feeling at that point? What did you say you think?
Well, I will say that if I'm thinking this correctly, I'm pretty sure I said this is probably it. Because there's so much. I mean, yes, you have the rumor mill, of course, but you also just look at the facts. And there's so much there. Before all of this, there was a lot of speculation. And a lot of speculation that wasn't good. And you're like, I don't know if he can sweep this under the rug. This isn't 1987, to where you just don't know. It's kind of like the meme I saw on Facebook the other day. And it was like, remember this phone when you could pick it up, 87 times and call this person anonymously and nobody know who the heck you were? Well, that's kind of the same deal. You could sweep that under the rug in 87 and nobody would be any the wiser. You certainly don't have this social media gathering that's like, hey, this, and that. Hey, wait a minute, I found this, and that. So it's so much more now. And you kind of know that in some companies, you have that happen. To where, oh, well, I'll just, do a little something over here and give her a little money. It won't be any big deal. It is a big deal. You are misappropriating your own company's money. And you have a saying, every dog has its day. And also, everything will come to fruition. It may not happen today. It may not happen next week. It may not even happen for 20 years from now. But eventually, it will come to be, and all your dirty laundry will be out and about. And now, here's the day that all his dirty laundry is coming out. And for the fact of as invested as he was in that company, for the fact for him to resign, they've got some shit on him that we don't even know.
Right.
There's no way you can tell me that I'm going to resign from my own company and lose what I built unless you've got me, excuse me, by the balls. And that's exactly where he is right now. He misappropriated funds, which I said before. he has been rumored to have many women who he has been sexual misconduct as the owner plus their boss. You know, so it just, yeah, it's bad for him. It is. It's bad. It's, you know, everything that you would not want to happen as an owner is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, just point blank.
Yeah.
Everything you wouldn't want to happen is happening.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I sent you, I don't know if you saw it, but I tagged Lee earlier on a Facebook post, and it reminded, well, as I was watching it, I remembered the segment when Triple H was doing the work, and he had Vince McMahon in the ring, and he basically told him he was fired.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So there's a running loop of that, you know, him, Vince McMahon being all upset and crying and whatever have you, and it probably just, it was kind of like, oh, sounds like something's come to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah. and it's not something that I'm making light of, because it is. I mean, it's his livelihood. It's, you know, he is getting on up there in age, and to have this happen at the age that he is, you know, you wonder how many more years he's got left. And a bad taste for a lot of people.
Let me ask you something. What disappoints you more as a wrestling fan and as a female? What disappoints you more? The fact that he did have these affairs, consensual be it. It was consensual, but still, you know, adultery. Well, let me finish. Adultery is adultery, but it's consensual. And then, not to mention, we don't know what type of relationship he has with Linda. It could be an open relationship for all we know, right? I'm not defending.
Yeah, we don't.
Right, I'm not defending. I'm just making sure all the angles are covered. But what disappoints you more? You know, just all of that, basically the embezzlement, or just, you know, because when you look at this, you know, it's really hard, and it's interesting because I haven't really heard too many people, even those that I have a lot of respect for in high regard, that's been involved in the business and they're doing podcasts now. I haven't exactly heard people, bon voyage, Vince, thanks for the memories, you know, giving him his, you know, leave the memories behind. You know, I haven't, you know, it's very, what I've been gathering so far, it's been very, really, dude, you're going out like this? So what, you know, just...
Well, first of all, again, as you said, we do not know what the situation and relationship he has with his wife. Either way, you are a business owner. You're an owner of a company. I mean, a global juggernaut. Okay, we're not just talking about ma and pa. You're talking about a global juggernaut, and the audacity to think that, consensual or otherwise, the audacity as a boss. And that kind of speaks to what's broken with that whole society, old world thinking. Because that is part of it. You know, back in that time, you know, give it, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago, how men were thinking they could just get away with it. There was no big deal. So you know it had to be wrong. I'm sorry. You know it had to be wrong for you to basically misappropriate funds from your company to pay these women off. Because if it was that damn consensual, what the fuck are you paying her for? Unless she's a high-priced hooker. I'm sorry. You know, that just... I mean, okay, well, I'll give you a little something. Come on. I mean, no. I don't agree with it. I think he misappropriated funds to cover up his indiscretions, is what I think. And yes, to your point, there isn't a lot of him getting his flowers. I mean, at this point, you are in the position because things are so fucking bad that they're like, yeah, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, and that'll be what it is. And besides, I can't believe you did that. And it's just not a cool thing. It just, it basically says, okay, my business practices were not up to par in that regard. And as a woman, I'm sorry, I feel disgusted that he felt like he could get away with that. Really? You have, 50% of your roster that are women? And you're basically sitting here patting women on the asses and then some and saying, oh, I just give you a little hush money. It's okay. So that makes it okay? That makes it okay for you to basically sexually assault and harass me? Because you're going to give me some money? No. That's wrong. That's what's wrong with the values of the older generation. Because it wasn't okay, but it was accepted. Because people wanted, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Okay, I do this for you, you do this for me. I now have a better career because I did a favor for you. That's no longer the case anymore. Or at least not as prevalent as it used to be. Yeah. What happened to women getting what happened to women getting their shot, their own, on their own merit versus the favors that I have to do for you to get ahead.
Right. I know.
And that's what sucks.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks. And the fact that 14 million, I mean, grant you, they're worth more than, that's probably a drop in the bucket for that family. But that's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of money. And that just shows you the amount of, that shows me I was able to get away with it for so long, it didn't matter. And I was able to keep it swept under the rug, so I'm good.
You know what it reminded me a lot of? And I hadn't thought about this company in years. But it reminded me a lot. You see, it may take what's going on with Vince McMahon, the embezzlement part and all that. It may take some people off, but you all got to realize that shit like this happens all the fucking time.
We just don't know about it.
You just don't know about it.
Yep.
I remember there was a company that I had worked for. I think now it's maybe been 5 or 6 years ago. It was a security company that I had worked for. And this security company, the stories I could tell you. But let's stick to the main one that connects to this whole Vince McMahon embezzlement, hush money, fucking around behind his wife's back. Let's tackle all that. So for this particular security firm that I had worked with, and Tammy will tell you, this was my last time working security because this security company had left such a bitter taste in my mouth. It gave me an overall bad impression of where currently I feel the security industry is as a whole by letting reckless youngins be put in positions of authority that they have no business being under.
Yep.
Okay.
That they're not ready to do.
Yeah, that they're not ready to do.
or be.
Right. Because they don't, this is kind of one of those cases where, They don't have that Kurt Angle 3 eyes, right? They don't have the 3 eyes, okay? So this guy that was in charge of this site that I worked at, he was fucking with the books. This guy was fucking with the books. Now, the way that he was fucking with the books, he had submitted the W-2 paperwork and all that for his wife. So there's your first conflict of interest right there. His wife.
Who doesn't work there?
But number 2, his wife. Mm-hmm. Okay? Most businesses, yeah, man, no, we can't have you and your, no, even if, y'all ain't working the same shift, ultimately, he's your superior. No. Mm-hmm. So that's the first no-no. Mm-hmm. You're right, that's the first no-no. And then the fact, right, it's the wife, right? I mean, so that's just wrong right there. Here's the third one. The third one, the woman never worked there. Mm-hmm. The woman never worked there. All she was doing was just collecting a check. So what my man would do when the rover would come by on payday to drop off the checks, well, I believe she had her set up for direct deposit and all that, but some security guards were still getting live checks. Mm-hmm. So what he would do before anybody was able to get a hold of those checks so they could he would pull out his wife's check, right, put that to the side, and then he would let the rest of the guys have at it and everything, right? Now, how do I know this? I know this because one of the guards that I had worked with, I had built up a really good rapport with. I actually considered her a friend. She had relayed this information to me, and she asked me straight up because she was very conflicted. She said, "Lee, what do you think I should do?" I said, "Man, you got some heavy shit right here. Seriously, like, you got a couple of options. Either you get yourself out of this situation and you find new work altogether, get as far away from this as humanly possible." Mm-hmm. 2, you do the right thing and you get in contact with either the superior, see if they're gonna be able to step in and do something, or maybe you get in contact with NBC4 or ABC7, our local news affiliates out here, and maybe they can somehow set up some type of a sting operation or whatever, and XYZ, right? Get this person out of the position, right? Like, that's right. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever you want to do, like, but obviously you got a serious case right here of corruption that's going on, and embezzlement. Like, yeah, this ain't good. Yep. And on top of that, this guy is married to this woman, has 3 little kids, and he is fucking women on the side. Tried many times to hit on her. I remember one time it had snowed so bad that they had put up some of the guards at a hotel. They rented out like a couple of rooms or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this motherfucker, rather than give her own room, since she is a female and everything, he tries to impose on her. Does this sound like a Vince McMahon move? Oh, well, yes. just come and, you can stay in my room. You can stay in my room. We won't sleep in the same bed. No, we won't sleep in the same bed. You could actually have the bed, and I'll either take the sofa or I'll take the floor. No. And I said to her, I said, look, I said, and she told me how uncomfortable that had made her feel, yada, yada, yada. And I told her straight up, I said, look, you hun, you don't need to do all that. I'm like, look, it's like, I'm sure Tams won't mind. And at that time, we weren't married yet, but, we were already getting the ball rolling. And her and Tams, they numerous times when Tams would come to pick me up from work and everything, there was always a little bit of, nice side chatter going on between the 3 of us and everything. I told her, I said, look, I said, if push comes to shove, I said, you are more than welcome. I said, Tams won't mind. You are more than welcome to come to our house. It's like, we got a spare room. It's like, do what you need to do, take a load off. Because she lived pretty far. I think she lived out
Yeah, she lived about 45 minutes away. I think she lived in Walkersville.
Yes. Yes.
So she lived 45 minutes away from the site.
Yeah.
And that is north of us.
Yeah.
So that was a hike. And not only that, the snow would have been more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. That would be like my boss, who is married, saying to me, "Oh, Tammy, it's okay. You don't really have to go home. I would be really freaked out by that. Really. Mm-hmm. I would be like, wait a minute, you want me to what? I can understand if you had a staff where you had 3 to 5 females and you put them in the same room. Okay. Fine. Gotcha. But I'm supposed to be in the same room with you by myself, and you're married and you're my boss?
Exactly.
Oh, no. No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah. It's bullshit, man.
It is.
Seriously.
That is, whether he meant anything by it or not.
Right.
That's first of all, it's just uncool.
Now, let me tell you something before we go too far. All right.
That's just uncool.
Now, loop this back to Vince McMahon. You've already got the connections, but now let's now hang on. Mm-hmm. Let's really loop this back to the Vince McMahon situation. Remember, you probably don't know this, but one of the women was a secretary. And
I heard that.
She had some financial struggles, and Vince McMahon pretty much was able to capitalize on that, pretty much have it his way, and then like a whore, passed her off to John Laurinaitis and all that, right?
God.
Now that same woman that I was talking about not that long ago, here's what sadly had happened with her.
And didn't John Laurinaitis resign as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, yeah. Well, they pretty much whacked him like Joe Pesci, and Goodfellas. He comes down to the fucking basement. Isn't this fucking great? I'm gonna be a made man. Today's a great day. I'm gonna be a made man. I can't fucking believe this. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, pal? How you doing? You and me, we go a long fucking way, don't we? Yeah, we go a long fucking way. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Petey? Hey, where's everybody? Everybody's downstairs? All right, come on, let's go. Let's go downstairs. How you doing? How's your mom's, huh? Oh, shit. That's pretty much...
Yeah.
That's right. Right?
Yeah.
The way they got homegirl, the girl I was just talking about that I had worked with, ultimately the way they had got her, this dude got to her by, let's give you a raise. Oh, let's give you a little bit more money. Shit. And that's how ultimately.
So basically, with the raise became sexual favors?
To my knowledge, she did not do sexual favors, but I would not be surprised if she ended up doing it. But I do know that he started doing a lot more, nice things to win her over. And that pretty much had silenced her. Now, she never did confront him, to my knowledge, and say, hey, look, XYZ, this is what I know about your ass. This is what I know that, But you see what I'm talking about.
Yes. Okay. So here's there's either two scenarios on how this plays out. I've seen the playbook. I've seen it happen way too many times. Either she did something or she knows something. Because no woman would ever keep that hush-hush. They either paid for her silence or they paid for her to then be a little more lenient in what her morals would be. Because now she's making some extra money. Things are better for her and her family. So she's not going to want to rock that boat.
Right.
So that's the only two scenarios that I see on how that went down.
Right.
Because I've seen the playbook too many times for it not to be that way.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not saying she did. I don't know the woman. It's just I've seen the scenario.
Right. But to the point that we were making earlier, this shit happens more often.
Oh, yeah. It happens under your noses.
Yes.
You don't even know
Yes.
that it's happening.
Exactly.
With half the time or 3/4 of the time that it's happening until somebody blows the cover off of it, and whether they didn't get paid enough or whether they were like, I got my values and this shit is wrong.
Right.
So one or the other.
Right.
So yeah, it's truly sad in a society that has had the evolution that you've had to have so many things stay the same.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I tell you what, not a good way to go out after 40 years.
Yeah. You basically got ostracized. I guess basically you got outed by your own company because of your own indiscretions.
Somebody posed this theory on Monday stream. I want to run this by you before we move on. Somebody said, and I wish I could remember the person's name, but somebody had said, and they know exactly who they are, on the Monday show, they had said it was good and bad that WWE became a publicly traded company, because by going publicly traded at the very end, it's ultimately what did Vince McMahon in. And what I countered that, and I said, well, I see where you're coming from, and I understood the take that he had, because I knew he was listening to a certain podcast that pretty much had, because the way he said it, did write almost word for word. I know the podcast right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want to say the name of the podcast, because if I say the name of the podcast, I'm sure everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah. It has nothing to do with, I'm saying that I'm wondering who's going to, you're talking about, yes, it was on, nobody has confronted me and said, was it this show? For me to say. So it's not like I'm trying to be a dick. I just, your thought process is influenced, but that's okay. Like, if that's the side you want to take, I respect that. You know what I'm saying? But I countered that, and I said, have you ever seen the movie Wall Street? Remember Michael Douglas' character, Gordon Gekko? He said, greed is power. Greed is good. And for me, what ultimately did him in was greed. But that's my what do you say to his thought of what did Vince in? What do you agree with that, Gil?
I do.
Okay.
Because as a publicly traded company, you have so many more eyes on your product and your business handlings. Mm-hmm. I mean, exponentially. Mm-hmm. So yes, the greed of it, and what basically, hey, I'm taking this to the next level. I'm taking this, my company here. Great. But probably what he didn't think is, oh shit, what about all those skeletons in my closet? Are they going to find those?
Yeah.
How many, okay, so it relates, but it doesn't relate. So how many times, which I've seen more than I care to see in my lifetime, of ID and forensic files, right? How many times have we seen one of those shows and the person who did the deed did all these extra things thinking they won't, find out, they won't do this, they won't, right? And time and time again, guess what they do? They find it. They find the pieces. They find all this shit that they were getting ready to hide, or they were hiding, and they were putting in all these other places and all whatever have you. They are finding it to piece that puzzle together. And when they start digging, usually there's an avalanche of bull that comes along with it. So basically, to loop all that together, I'm sure he thought they won't find this. Because if he had, he might have thought twice about about going publicly traded or doing what he did. You either went publicly traded because you want to take your company to the next level, or you're hurting for money and you want to figure out how to get more. That's the only two reasons you would do it.
Sad ending. That's all I know.
Sad ending. And
it's just getting started.
It's a sad ending to a person who has created, along with his, father, a conglomerate juggernaut of a company. And to have him go down like that, and basically now he's not the owner of WWE, he's now a damn stain.
Yeah, you said that brilliantly. He's now a stain. Yes. Yes.
I mean, grant you, they're going to have to pick up the ball and run with it. And obviously being Stephanie and Nick Khan.
Yep.
And Triple H.
Yeah.
Or Paul Levesque.
Yeah.
So all of those people are going to now have to pick up the pieces and carry on the torch. I mean, grant you would have liked for a passing of the torch.
Yeah.
That's homegrown. Now it's forced. And it's not what's best for business.
The only solace that wrestling fans can take from that, to your point though, is, okay, well, you know what, Stephanie, Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, this is what they have been preparing for years.
For years.
You know what I'm saying?
Years.
But I mean, goddamn, as we segue, you just gotta be smiling and rooting like a mofo for Nick Khan, because for this guy to come into the WWE, I don't even know if he has 3 years under his belt with WWE just yet.
Oh wow!
But
he must have made some type of impression.
A guy that is best friends with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, childhood friends. Had a big hand in orchestrating the business aspects for The Rock and all. For him to just be able to make the type of impact that, there's like this running gag that's going on social media over the years since Nick Khan has been incorporated with the WWE, the Mortal Kombat video game. And like each time you move up a level, you see like the image of you and the next fighter that you're getting ready to take on. Like this stone pillar basically. And like every time some stupid shit would go down, you would see Nick Khan's little portrait. It would move up. Okay, John Laurinaitis. Okay, check. Right. And then you would just see him moving up the ladder. And the ultimate boss was Vince McMahon, and it's like, damn, checkmate. And,
Yeah. Wow, that's an interesting take on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, pretty much you've taken down the big boss, so it's only up from there, and it's his for the taking.
It is. Want to thank those of you that's tuning in right now. If you guys been having a good time, please show the ultimate love. Only takes a couple of seconds, depending on where you're checking us out live right now, because we are streaming on multiple platforms. We're doing the Twitter, we're doing the Twitch, we're doing the Facebook, we're doing the YouTube. We're also streaming in the Discord as well. Just use keywords, the RCWR show. Hit the like button. Definitely hit the like button. Smash it. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Somebody had asked, this is the best piece of advice that I can give. I like interactions, I do. But when I have a question like from NP asking, what do you do in this stream? Sometimes if you just be quiet for about 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and you're trying to figure out what's going on here in this particular, you'll get the answer to your question. And then in most situations, if you still haven't quite figured out what you're getting yourself in for, sometimes if you just go onto that person's about channel or about page You see what they're okay. All right, this is okay. Got it. So the answer to your question is right there. You just got to be willing to let me actually put in the time, do my part, and then pretty much go from there and everything. Shout out to Steven. So, San Diego Comic-Con. We had a whole bunch of interesting trailers that came out. Jesus Christ, this was just, we got a sneak peek for John Wick 4. That's going to be coming out in March of 2023. Netflix had also confirmed that a production on a 2-season-long anime, I don't know how you pronounce this, is it Berserker or BRZRKR, which is going to star Keanu Reeves. That is going to start up. So Keanu Reeves is very, very busy these days. Matter of fact, he is doing the voice. And I've always wanted him to do it, and now I'm getting my wish. He is doing the voice of Batman in the new animated movie that's getting ready to drop this weekend, Super Pets. Yes. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. We had finally got the trailer for that. That's going to be coming out in time for Christmas, so pretty excited for that. That actually had looked pretty damn good. Black Adam. That's going to be dropping this October. I'm very, very eagerly anticipating that. Tams already knows this, but I can remember being as far back as in high school. So, folks, we are talking, God, now.
Many years ago.
Oh, wow, man. Has it really been almost 30 years? Yeah, almost 30. No, not quite. Class of 2000, so 96, 95, 96. We have been talking
so
about
24 years.
We've been talking about wanting to see The Rock as Black Adam. It went that far back, yes.
Really?
So let me make sure my chronological order is right here, because when we look up Rocky Maivia, all right, let's just say The Rock. All right, there he is, right there. Okay, so he was doing his thing in 1996, and then he went on to do Nation of Domination. Yeah, we were talking about him, Nation of Domination. So as early as 96, 97 in high school.
Okay, pretty much 24 years?
Yes. Many of us were like, he's got to be Black Adam.
That's really, really interesting.
Yeah. That's why The Rock even had got pretty emotional about when he was, because he had heard all the chatter over the years about,
Actually, if I'm thinking about back, I mean, that's a while ago. I really think that the same chatter was happening at my high school at that time. Because I definitely remember most of my classmates, if they were talking wrestling, it was like The Rock. Mm-hmm. And I actually vaguely remember a couple of conversations. I mean, that's really pulling cobwebs. The same conversation happening at my high school. Mm-hmm. And basically that would be badass.
And then I remember years later, when Randy Orton came into the mix and everything, once he started becoming the legend killer, all of us were like, oh, he'd be a good Namor. I remember I was like one of the first people to jump out there, make him Namor. And people were like, really, Namor? I'm like, yeah, he's got the body, he's got the look at the motherfucker. They're like, yeah, Namor. Sadly, Namor has officially been cast. We saw a little bit of a piece of him coming up in the new Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer. That movie is going to be dropping this November. Now, Black Panther, Jesus Christ, man, all this shit that was put out, Marvel basically had unveiled 4 years of films and TV.
Oh, wow.
At the San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the announcement was that Phase 4, 5, and 6 of the MCU will be united together under the banner entitled The Multiverse Saga. And as many of you guys recall, Phase 1, 2, and 3, that pretty much was under the Infinity Saga. Okay? So, what else did we get? We already told you guys about the Black Adam. We also got July to December 2022. We got She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. We saw the trailer for that. That series is going to officially be dropping this August 17th. So Disney had premiered a new trailer, and honestly, a lot of people are pretty much excited for this because we're going to see Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. We're also going to see Charlie Cox as Daredevil, right? Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I did see the trailer for that. That looks pretty damn badass.
So, for me,
Yeah.
I've seen the, hey, here's the trailer.
Yeah.
I haven't brought myself to actually click on it yet. Because for me, it's still Chadwick. And it's kind of going back to what we were talking about a couple weeks, or actually last week.
Yeah.
About people changing their characters.
Yeah.
It looks okay, but I haven't brought myself to click on it in reference to actually watch it.
They did, from the little bit that they showed of the trailer teaser, they did a good job in honoring the memory of Chadwick. They did a good job. And remember, they were sticking to their guns after he passed. They said, we will not recast his role. But there is a new Black Panther. That much I will say.
Okay, so what was his role versus the new person?
Basically, when Marvel said we will not recast his role, they basically said, look, he will forever be
Black Panther.
We are not going to have somebody, portraying the role
of
blah,
Black
blah,
Panther
blah
2.0.
today.
2.0.
Right. No. There's a new Black Panther. It's just, it's a different character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when they said they were not going to, recast his role, they stuck to their guns.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah, they stuck to their guns on that one. Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. That's going to be that's a Disney Plus special that's going to be going down this December, and then pretty much kicking us off in 2023. A lot of people are going to be eagerly anticipating this. I know I am. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania. That's going to be going down February 17th. That's going to be the third Ant-Man film that will officially start Phase 5 and go pretty deep into the multiverse saga, pretty much what it's all about and everything. Synopsis for this one: Scott Lang is reunited with his daughter. Life is going pretty good until Kang the Conqueror, portrayed by Jonathan Majors, arrives. Kang will be one, if not the essential villain in the multiverse saga. There's a lot of rumblings that Doctor Doom is maybe going to be making his grand MCU debut during this phase. Even more the reason why, for those of you that haven't, like Tams, if you haven't watched the Loki series yet, you need to watch the Loki series. It makes you appreciate Jonathan Majors even more as the main antagonist. And then you got Secret Invasion. That's going to be going down in spring. That's going to be a crossover series on Disney Plus that's aimed to show how a faction of shape-shifting Skrulls that were first seen in the Captain Marvel movie have infiltrated the world. And the story follows the question of what is your best... Basically, the story follows the question of what if your best friend of 7 years happens to be lying to you all this time. Sets up Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is happening May 5th of 2023. That's going to mark the last ride of Peter Quill and the rest of the gang. And basically the film is going to be centering around Quill trying to boost the team's spirit
after Gamora's death and give audiences the truth behind Rocket's sad origin. So that's followed up by Echo. Remember, we were first introduced to Echo in the what series was that? In the Hawkeye series. After seeking revenge for a family murder, Echo was killed at the end of the show, or was she? Look for major connections to the Marvel street level heroes in this Disney Plus series, and as you all know, Daredevil Born Again. That's going to be coming down the pipeline.
Oh, nice.
July of 2023, season 2 of Loki. Enough said on that one. The Marvels, July 28th, 2023, sequel to Captain Marvel. Film will combine 3 characters with similar powers: Captain Marvel herself, Spectrum, who was first seen in WandaVision, and Miss Marvel, fresh off of the highly rated Disney Plus debut. Blade is going to be going down November 3rd of next year with our boy Marshala Ali.
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
Ironheart, that's going to be happening fall of 2023. She will first be seen in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and then she's going to go into her own Disney Plus film. Agatha, Coven of Chaos, that'll be happening sometime fourth quarter of next year. Also, July 2024, sucks that we got to wait this long, Daredevil Born Again. It's going to be an 18 episode Disney Plus series.
Nice.
That
is Charlie Cox reprising his role?
Yes. As well as Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh my Lord! I know you just had a whole smile on your face.
Yes. Captain America: New World Order. That will be happening May 3rd, 2023, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Or 2024. It could be 2024. I think yes, 2024. Mm-hmm. And then we got Thunderbolts, July of 2024. Marvel has not announced if the Thunderbolts film will be at the end of Phase 5, so you guys can expect another film or series to maybe be in the middle of that. Phase 6, November 24th until, to be determined. Apparently there's going to be another 8 Marvel projects to be revealed during the DT3 Expo, including Internals. Fantastic Four is going to be going down November of 2024. Apparently that's going to be beginning Phase 6. Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, May 5th, 2025. At that point, it will have been 7 years since the last time Avengers were seen on screen. Kang will be front and center as the main antagonist, the way that it's kind of looking. And then that pretty much sets up a few months down the pipeline, Avengers Secret Wars, November 8th of 2025.
So, are you going to have the main cast? I mean, obviously, Captain America is going to be new. Iron Man won't be there.
Correct.
So you're going to have
a whole new Avengers team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Yeah. So that is the whole, there's rumblings too, by the way, in regards to, we got to show our boy Giancarlo Esposito of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. We got to show him some love because there's rumblings that he could be in the running to be the new Professor X. What do you think about that?
I think he could pull it off.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what? Like, because, look, he's getting older now, but, he's a lot older now. Let's not kid ourselves. But Sir Patrick Stewart, he's getting up there in age, man. So, you got to eventually pass on that mantle, Speaking of which, there was a really good trailer that was revealed for the final season of Star Trek Picard, and they're bringing back all the guys, the main cast from the Next Generation. And this will probably put a smile on some of you guys' faces that are Star Trek fans. But if you were ever a fan of Deep Space Nine, there is apparently some shit in the works. They are trying to see if Avery Brooks, Captain Sisko, they're trying to.
Are they?
They're trying to figure some stuff out. Yeah.
Oh.
So that would
make you happy?
That would definitely make me happy. Definitely make me happy. So some interesting stuff right there. So I want to, we were talking about the Elvis movie some weeks back. I want to pick your brain on this here and get you to comment on this because I thought this was pretty interesting. Of course, with the Elvis movie coming out, once again, the question has been brought up, well, was Elvis Presley racist? And Priscilla Presley apparently had addressed some of the alleged history of her ex-husband's, some of that shit from that movie Elvis. And per the movie, for a long time it was stated that Elvis was a racist, Priscilla explained. She did this in an interview with Piers Morgan, Uncensored, where she addressed Elvis' relationships with musicians of color, particularly. So, but she said, per the movie, for a long time it was stated that Elvis was a racist. He was not a racist. He had never been a racist. He had friends, black friends, friends from all over. He loved their music. He loved their style. He loved being around black musicians. Priscilla cited Elvis' friendships with Fats Domino and Sammy Davis Jr. as examples. He loved being around blacks. He loved being around anyone, actually. He was not prejudiced in any way. He was not racist in any way. It's like we're looking for something from everyone so we can somehow expose them in some way. It's frightening right now. And of course, as we all know, they had divorced in 1972 after they were married for 6 years. Piers Morgan asked Priscilla to weigh in on Elvis' status as a controversial figure in many ways today. And she said, do you think, or rather was asked, do you think he would survive this weird cancel culture that we now have to endure? Morgan posed. Priscilla responding, I think of that often. What would Elvis think? He wouldn't believe what is going on right now in this country or to all over what's happening to this planet. Us as a country is truly baffling. She continued, Elvis would probably go to the president like he did with Nixon, put his foot down and say, what is going on? I don't know what happened to freedom. I don't know if there is freedom here anymore. I think we're in a very dangerous time. And, yeah.
I saw that interview.
Yeah. But, well, meanwhile, now where this is all, how this kind of picked up a little bit of steam, I want to make sure I'm giving people full context here. Music producer and Mongol Quincy Jones had reflected to the Hollywood Reporter in an interview going back to last year that he would not work with Elvis after the orchestra leader Tommy Dorsey refused to play with Elvis in the 1950s. Here's what Quincy Jones said. He was a racist mother. I'm going to shut my mouth now. But every time I saw Elvis, he was being coached by Don't Be Cruel songwriter Otis Blackwell, telling him how to sing. B.B. King, who is featured prominently in that film, right? Portrayed by Kelvin Harris Jr., he praised and defended Elvis, who he considered a friend. Elvis didn't steal any music from anyone. He just had his own interpretation of the music he'd grown up on. Same is true for everyone. King wrote in his biography, I think Elvis had integrity. Little Richard, played by Alton Mason in the film, also considered Presley a pal. I loved him. That's my buddy, my baby, Richard once said after Presley's death. Elvis is one of the greatest performers who ever lived in this world. But Lil Richard additionally noted, giving nuance to the discussion, that if Elvis had been black, he wouldn't have been as big as he was.
Nope.
If I was white, do you know how huge I'd be? If I was white, I'd be able to sit on top of the White House. A lot of things they do for Elvis and Pat Boone, they wouldn't do for me. So that is the full context. What say you?
Well, so let me start off by saying I had heard for many years that there was that he was a racist. Well, not from everybody, but I had heard rumblings. So I was like, really? And I never got that vibe from him. I was introduced to Elvis when I was very young. My dad is a huge fan. So, and I just basically became a huge fan as well. So, when I really went to the movie, now that's probably one of the things that I took away from this movie that I didn't take away from any of the other Elvis biopics, is I knew that he mimicked I knew that he took some elements from that style of music into his own. But I didn't know to the extent of what he did with, black people of color. I never knew that him and in his early beginnings that him and B.B. King, were not close, but definitely good acquaintances. Mm. That's part of where his style came from. Mm-hmm. He was very not close, but like I said, acquaintances with B.B. King. And what I had found was that apparently he used to, especially while he was in Vegas, he used to stay behind and watch like people like Fats Domino. Him and apparently Jackie Robinson were really good friends. Matter of fact, when Jackie had his stroke, Elvis wrote a check and paid for some medical bills. So, there's that. There's, like you said, there's been friendships with Sammy Davis Jr. and, in everything that's ever been said about him in reference to books and whatever have you, I've never heard that. So I think it really was more of a stigma than it was actual truth. So in the interview, she flat out said, no, he was not a racist. She said you reiterated, he did not. He liked people of all types and creeds and colors. I did read a little bit on the Quincy Jones thing, and I was like, really? So sometimes it might have been where Elvis may not have liked the person, but it didn't have anything to do with the color of their skin. And I'm not saying he didn't like Quincy. I'm just saying hypothetically in my interpretation.
Now, let me ask you this, because I'm sure people that are hearing this, does Priscilla Presley, does she have control of the Elvis catalog, or? Because I'm sure people are kind of thinking, well, wouldn't it be in her position to defend, because isn't she still making some type of money off of the king, or?
Well, yeah, she is a part of Elvis Presley Enterprises.
So one would not, right? I mean, you could make an argument. I'm not saying I believe she's telling the truth.
But the majority owner of his estate is his daughter.
But you understand what I'm saying as far as the optics.
I do.
Because we have to address that for people that are listening. They're kind of going, well, wait a minute here. Mm-hmm. Because, it's like, if it were proven that he was, in fact, a racist, I'm sure that with today's culture, mm-hmm. cancel,
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about, which continues on a monthly, yearly basis, the amount of revenue that they're still able to get off of Elvis. The last thing you want is to have his name be attached with that kind of, I would think.
Agreed.
So fuck yeah, you're going to be like, no, he wasn't racist at all.
Agreed. But
I believe he wasn't racist.
I still believe her, and I
Yeah.
believe some of the other things that I've read.
Well, I remember hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember hearing some type of a story about his maid who was black, that he had a lot of love and admiration
Bought
for.
her house.
That's what I say. He bought her a house, right?
And other people, black people that he did things for, not just the ones that we've just mentioned.
Yeah.
His staff, gestures that he flat out said, I don't want this in the news. I just want to do it anonymously because I don't want the publicity. I just want to help.
Well, not just that, but he also did not need the scrutiny. Because the last thing you need is to have the king of rock be labeled as a ninja lover.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. But no, I don't. I really don't think he was racist.
Not my words. That's how society would have labeled him back then. Yeah.
Back then, yes.
Yeah.
Literally. And to Little Richard's point, if he was any other color, he would not have had the success that he had. And same with Little Richard. Because unfortunately, society back then put labels on a lot of people. And, even to Elvis, who did, because part of his influence was country as well, and some others. But when he went to the Grand Ole Opry to basically give his take on this particular song, they looked at him like he was from Mars. And it was just like, who the hell are you? And that's not our type of music. But it was so funny. In the movie, it was like, wow, this music, that, just the general music that they had back in that time. I mean, it was good, but it was like, damn, this music is boring as fuck. And it was like, okay. And then you got Elvis, who came on the scene, who's shaking his hips, moving, and it's got rhythm and soul and oomph, versus the generalized one tone group. And you're like, wow. So you can imagine why the kids of that day and time were like, wow. But I mean, besides the fact that Elvis had the looks and the charisma and all that, even in the movie, it was so funny. And I
don't get too deep now.
But no, it was just a comment. And one of the guys in the back said, yeah, what you just said right there? And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, when you moved your legs and wiggled. He said, yeah, they like that. Do more of that. So, but anyway, it was funny. I was reading, some other trivia that, and it was more about Colonel Parker, which was his manager. And it was actually talking with the daughter. That's not what I wanted. And basically, Colonel Parker never went on and managed anybody else after Elvis.
Yeah, because that was his cash cow.
True. But, I mean, after Elvis passed away, so he could have. That contract obviously ended when Elvis passed. So, but I thought it was interesting on what she said.
And who's this again?
The daughter.
Of who?
Of Colonel Parker.
Okay.
And basically it was Tanya Tucker's dad, which was a country artist back then, went up to him and he was willing to give advice and what have you. But what he said, I've had the greatest. Anything else would just be a step down. Meaning
I get it. No, I get it.
Right.
I get it.
So
They get it.
yeah, so I just thought it was interesting because majority of the time, and even to my points that I made a couple weeks ago, there's been a lot of bad said about, Colonel Parker and his relationship with Elvis, in reference to working him and, all the stuff that you've heard, right? So it was just nice to hear something a little less like, yeah, okay, this is an asshole. But it was nice to hear that. And it sounds like they had a mutual admiration for each other because they actually never had a contract. It was a handshake.
Yeah, that wouldn't work in today's time.
That wouldn't work in today's time.
That wouldn't work in today's time.
But it definitely worked back then. So,
interesting.
But anyway, it's just a little tidbit.
That's I found it fascinating. I did. it's just weird that we still got all that shit that's running around about all.
Well, in the defense of other people, you also have the interpretation of that point at that time. And 9 times out of 10, this shit has been probably 40, 50 years ago. And, so first of all, memory fades for some things. But also, you don't remember the specifics of every single thing that happened. It could have been another person. It could have been anything.
Right.
So, I take it with a grain of salt. I mean, there's more out there of the good that he did than someone saying he was a racist. Because I remember hearing from a friend of the family, it basically was something that was said, and it stuck with me for years. But I don't know how true it is. It's just speculation. So, anyway, moving along.
Yeah. You ready to get into this watch along?
Sure.
All right. So the way we're going to do this, I'm going to provide a link in the Discord, okay? And so for you guys that, need certain timestamps and all that good shit, you guys will you'll be watching this right along with us, and you'll pretty much be able to, do it this way. So I'm going to actually pull this match up on my tablet so I can actually get you guys the link here. Now, I'm letting you guys know right now, in regards to this link, the video, it should still be up on here too. It looks like the initial link was on Daily, there it is, on Daily Motion. So you guys may see ads during this, okay? You're just going to have to sit through that shit and try to figure out a way you can skip it where you guys are able to skip it and pretty much go from there. All right, so here we go. I'm going to title this link to Wrestlemania HBK. Hang on, HBK. God damn it. I said HBK, not J. HBK versus Flair. Watch along, okay? All right. So let's do that and post that. And then for you guys that's going to be watching on other platforms, I'm going to post the link so that you guys can see this as well. So everybody is on the same page here. All right, here we go. All right, you guys should be seeing it in 3 seconds. WrestleMania 24, Flair versus HBK. This way, when we stop at some points, and, we're reflecting on something, all that good shit, you guys will pretty much be right there with us and everything, all right? So I'm going to now open up screen share. Let's see here. I'm going to open up my screen share so that people will be able to watch this right along with us here. So let me figure out how this works here. Well, I would think that if I wanted to share my screen, see, I'm still getting used to sharing my screen. Hang on here. Can I share my screen? Let me see here. Move to audience. Nope. You can't stream. I can't stream in this channel? Why can I not stream in this channel? I demand to know why I cannot stream in this channel. Okay, that's fine. Fuck it. All right, we're fine. So let's go ahead then. I'm going to go back into our channel here. And I'm going to go on ahead. Chloe, you got to stop, honey. Maybe let her roam or out in the hallway or something. All right, so let's blow this up so we can watch this. Okay, actually, hang on. I'm a little not disorganized, but I am. Give me a second here. And while I'm setting this up, why don't you tell the folks a fun, quick story? How far would you travel for good food? I think that's a really good the reason why I bring that question up. We had watched this funny ass YouTube video on foods that like it didn't work, and I remember one of the foods that they had mentioned was the McPizza. Not sure how many of you guys remember that. The McPizza.
We're watching, yeah.
And I remember saying to Tams, oh, yeah, actually in, I believe, West Virginia. Now, they may have stopped it since, but last I heard, which was about maybe 5 years ago, there is a McDonald's in West Virginia that still has the McPizza available. And the only reason why I remembered this was because there were some guys from Canada. They never had the McPizza before, and they wanted to go down to West Virginia to basically try it out. And I just thought that was so fucking hilarious. I can't remember what was the outcome, like whether or not they enjoyed it.
Well, the funny thing is I think you would be willing to travel a little bit further than I would, but I usually just go along for the ride. I know we've talked on and off about going to PA, to get some White Castle, or I think there's another chain out there, but that we've actually just, figured that we might do that. We have not done it yet. There used to be a family gag that we used to say, and it was like, you drive 45 minutes for a sub each way? Yeah. So there's actually a sub shop that my family has been going to for decades. It's called Joe's, and they make the best Italian hoagie in the area. I've tried others. They don't come close. So for me, that's probably been the longest that I've traveled for good food, in reference to you have a taste for something, you want something, and you're going to go get it. So pretty much that has been my furthest travel. But we have talked about traveling a little bit further than that, obviously, for White Castle, where we don't have one in our area. So
yeah. And she gave me just enough time so that we can finally hit play. So let's go ahead, because I'm sure some people are like, dude, we'll care about this. I know you guys mean well. All right, so we're hitting play right now. Let's rewind it back. We're going to Wrestlemania 24. March 30th, 2008, as we are seeing this. Now, this is going to be my second time ever watching this match. So I have not watched this match in its entirety since I initially saw it in 2008. And this would be your first time seeing this, correct?
In its entirety, yes.
This would be your first time. Yeah, I think you've maybe seen highlights here and there.
I've seen highlights, but not
the actual. All right, so let's go ahead. No audio is playing here. We could let audio play, but I don't want to have any copyright issues.
And then, I was telling the folks this, I've been like this for several months now, but I personally find I'm in a position these days where I appreciate the in-ring wrestling more when there's no commentating. I can focus
Come your
better.
own conclusions.
Right. I can focus. No, it's not about. I think depending on who commentators are in the wrestling promotion, I think they can actually be distracting.
True.
To a wrestling match.
True.
I know. So like these days, I mainly have the TV on mute unless I need to hear a wrestler cutting a promo. Then I'll unmute them. But these days, I'm typically having the TV on mute while I'm watching the in-ring action. It just helps. It feels like it's enhancing my senses better and things that maybe I didn't pick up on the first time with commentary on, I pick up when it's on mute, right? So yeah, that's how I'm finding it. All right, so let's go here. Nice jam-packed crowd that we have here as HBK. Shawn Michaels is up first. Look at that crowd. Look at that crowd. This is the career-threatening match. Ric Flair taking on Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels coming out first. Great ovation from the crowd. Great energy. Man, they don't do those stages like that anymore. God, well, you know what? Texas was
I was going to say that's
comeback.
probably the closest.
Texas was a big comeback. Yeah, that was kind of like, yeah, look at that. Look at that, Shawn Michaels. Great attire. So let's set the story up here as we're seeing these guys make their proper introductions here. So Vince wanted for Ric Flair to think long and hard about one particular opponent because Vince is very well aware of all the opponents Ric Flair has faced in his illustrious career. But at this time that Ric Flair was involved in the WWE, there was one opponent that Flair never really wrapped his brain around, and that's Father Time. Vince brought Father Time to Ric Flair's attention and basically letting him know, hey, you're 59 years old. It's about time for you to go on ahead and stop wrestling altogether. Flair felt as though 58 going on 59, he could still contribute a lot to the wrestling business. He was not interested in hanging it up. But Vince McMahon saying, no, look, this is honestly what's best for you. You know, you've had a wrestling career up to this point that's gone practically 36 years. You've had damn near close to 6,000 matches. You've won over 40 championships stretched across, various promotions there, right? So Ric Flair was drafted to SmackDown as part of the 2007 draft, if some of you guys recall, and it saw him feuding with MVP for the United States Championship. Flair even teamed up with Batista to go up against the Great Khali. Flair being on SmackDown, it fizzled out real quick, though, because after being drafted, he wasn't even part of the Blue Brand for not even 3 months, and he gets pulled out in storyline. He got injured by Great Khali, and so you don't see him for a couple of months. When he returns to an episode of Monday Night Raw in North Carolina, and you're going, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. We should be seeing you on SmackDown trying to extract some type of revenge against Great Khali. But hey, whatever, man. It's whatever. But the reason why that angle was done to get Flair off of TV was because Vince McMahon had wanted to begin telling the story of Ric Flair going into the sunset. He wanted to do the proper build-up for the retirement match, as we're now watching Ric Flair have his Grand Virtuoso entrance here. Look at that robe. That robe is very fucking beautiful. He had this robe customly made from scratch for this particular WrestleMania. Yeah. Oh, my God. Beautiful ass robe, man. I was so happy when they had put that in the video game for that next, I guess it was Raw versus SmackDown. Not really sure. But yeah, Vince had decided he wanted to pull Ric Flair so he could properly do a build-up towards Flair's retirement match at WrestleMania 24. Triple H had commented on the matter in retrospect, saying, I think it was getting to a point where people were starting to worry about him in the ring. No matter how much we told him, Rick, you don't need to do that stuff, he would do it on his own. I'm not sure if he was fully in his mind ready to retire. Vince broached the subject with him. Vince said there's a reason why they put a jockey on a racehorse. Somebody's got to pull the reins or they will run until they die. It's his job to pull the reins. So a plan was put in motion before Flair would have this WrestleMania match against HBK Shawn Michaels, that he would be inducted into that weekend's WWE Hall of Fame. Then the next night, have the match, nice good send-off and everything. And the way the storyline had came about was pretty badass. It almost mirrored in reality how Flair was feeling, as Flair was not trying to retire. Again, Flair came back on Raw, not on SmackDown, despite the whole shit with Great Khali. You got to rewind it back to the Monday Night Raw episode going back November 26th of 2007 from North Carolina. Folks were expecting for him, including myself in real time, we're going, okay, this is it. He's getting ready to announce his retirement. And instead, he said, I'm never going to retire. Never retire. Vince McMahon comes out. This is pleasing to his ear, as he says, okay, yeah, well, you know what? You better keep on winning then every single match that you're in, because the minute that you lose, you're done. From here on out, your career is going to be on the line. And see, most people got lost as we see these guys. They do a nice little handshake now. They're kind of filling each other out as Ric Flair slicks his hair back and woos them as they're pacing around each other now. We're at about the 6-minute, 9-second mark as the match is officially beginning here, as they have a lock up. Shawn Michaels, headlock off the ropes, takes a shoulder tackle to Ric Flair. Shawn doing a little bit of showboating now, kind of doing his own little Ric Flair strut as Flair is looking on pretty pissed off. Flair once again going in, feeling himself. Another lock up here. Ric Flair now with a headlock going behind Shawn Michaels' left arm. Got in a nice lock there. Shawn trying to get a grab. Nice good reversal there on the Ric Flair's arm there. Ric Flair there with another reversal. All right. And another reversal as Flair does a nice little drop hold takedown. Shawn reversing that. Nice. So some nice, good technical stuff going on to get us started here. So Flair pretty much put in that position by Vince McMahon. Something that most people forget about. What really should have been stressed was every single time Ric Flair was going to be in a singles match from then on out until WrestleMania, it would be a career life-threatening match, a career-threatening match. If Flair was involved in any type of a tag match, any of that, that did not count. It was only singles matches. So if you ever saw him lose here and there in tag matches, just make a note. It wasn't a career-threatening match. It only applied to when he was in a singles match. B, he lost via DQ, count-out, pinfall, submission. Once he would lose in those singles matches, that pretty much was it. Randy Orton was the first one up, as some of you guys may recall. And in that match, Jericho had came in with the distraction, setting up Ric Flair to do a low blow on Orton to pretty much get a roll-up victory there. And then leading up to Shawn Michaels, Flair was involved in, I counted this too, 16 career on-the-line matches. Those opponents, Umaga, Triple H, remember that was a case where to ensure Triple H would not try to do a solid to his best friend and mentor in the Nature Boy Ric Flair, William Regal and Vince McMahon decided that Triple H's spot in the Royal Rumble was going to be on the line. So if Hunter lost, he would not be able to take part in that respective year's Royal Rumble. Ric Flair would come out later on in that match with a pair of brass knucks, hit Triple H upside the head, basically causing a DQ. So Ric Flair would win via DQ. Despite what happened with Triple H, Triple H would still secure a spot going into that Royal Rumble. Other opponents that Ric Flair faced in those career-threatening matches: William Regal, Mark Henry, faced MVP twice. He had a setup for the first go-round at the Royal Rumble, which then set up a bridge for Ric Flair taking on Mr. Kennedy at the No Way Out pay-per-view. After that, heading into Monday Night Raw, HBK Shawn Michaels announces Ric Flair is going to be going into the WWE Hall of Fame. And on that road to Mania, let's take a pause right here as we're at the 9-minute, 42-second mark. Let's just take a pause right here so we can really appreciate the full context of this. Where on the road to WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels makes the announcement. Flair, I believe, was the first inductee announced to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. And it was kind of cool that week because after that announcement, Flair made an appearance on the WWE branded ECW show where he teamed with CM Punk to defeat Elijah Burke, aka the Pope, and Shelton Benjamin. And then the very next week on Raw, HBK Shawn Michaels had laid out Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch, after which Ric Flair had popped up and said, hey man, I really appreciate you doing the honors, making the announcement about me going into the WWE Hall of Fame and everything. Of course, you think about the Hall of Fame, you think about WrestleMania weekend, you think about WrestleMania itself. I want to have one of the best matches humanly possible at WrestleMania. And brother, tag, you're it. You are who I want to face because you have been dubbed Mr. WrestleMania for so many years. Mm-hmm. I want to face you. And I love the brilliant storytelling that they gave us leading up to that match because you had a very conflicted Shawn Michaels that did not want to do this match. And so here's Ric Flair. Hey, pal, I want you to do the honors. I want you to face me. Shawn Michaels essentially turning down Ric Flair. You know, like he respects him too much and, he doesn't want to do it. And the next thing you know, very next week, Flair calls HBK out like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How come you didn't want to do this match? What the hell? And HBK pretty much tells them, hey, look, I didn't want to do the match because, man, I got so much respect for you. And the way Ric Flair tells it to him, where he breaks it down to Shawn, he goes, look, there's two things that just don't apply in wrestling: sympathy and pity. And what you had displayed the previous week, I looked at that as sympathy and pity, and I don't need none of that shit from you. I want to take on the very best. I want to be able to beat the best. And Shawn reminds him, he goes, look, I hear you, but if we do this match, then, you're going to get Mr. WrestleMania. But if you and me do this match, I really don't want to be the guy known for ending Ric Flair's career. Right? So Ric Flair counters that. He's like, okay, so basically you think you're going to be able to beat me is what you're saying. Well, the only way to find out, accept the match and let's do this. So later on, I think it was that same episode or later that week. It was later that week on SmackDown. HBK Shawn Michaels had helped out Ric Flair in a handicap match against Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, and Edge. That was on the March 14, 2008 edition of SmackDown. Despite an appearance and interference by The Undertaker, Team Edge still won. Remember the stipulation there, right? So that did not count. Ric Flair would also face William Regal, Umaga, again in there, Mr. Kennedy. Matter of fact, he faced Mr. Kennedy 4 times from what I had saw. Vince McMahon in a street fight on the March 17th, 2008 edition of Monday Night Raw. Vince had planted Flair with a chair. We thought pretty much the match was going to be done for there. Vince goes for a cover. HBK interferes, pulls the ref off of out of the ring. And then pretty much Ric Flair was able to get in a low blow on Vince McMahon, went up to the top rope, crashed on the Vince McMahon, who was laid out on the table. Very next week, Flair pretty pissed off, calling out HBK. Why the hell did you do that? What the fuck? Why were you meddling your nose in my affairs? Like, at this point, we shouldn't be seeing each other until WrestleMania. What the hell were you doing? And Shawn was taken back by that. He's like, dude, you're the dirtiest player in the game. Like, you've done whatever it takes to win your matches. I was just out there trying to do you a solid because I saw the odds were pretty much stacked in your favor and everything. And Ric Flair pretty much coming right back, saying to Shawn, you know what, if you were 20 years older, you definitely would have faced me for the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA Championship. I'm telling you this right now, WrestleMania, you need to give me your absolute best. And Shawn Michaels had the most memorable line of a promo throughout that whole freaking back and forth. Okay, is the match on? Okay, the match is on. Okay, next week, okay, the match is off. What the fuck? On again, off again. Okay, now it's on again. Shawn Michaels with the best line of the whole fucking promo here. He goes, I want to remind you of a little story. Remember the story of Old Yeller? They loved that dog. But when it was time, they had to take that dog out back and finish him. Come Sunday, the showstopper is going to take you, Old Yeller, behind the woods and put you out of your misery. Rick just fucking snapped, and he just starts smacking the holy hell out of Shawn Michaels. Do it now! Come on, big man! Do it now! Do it now! I mean, he was smacking the shit out of him. I loved it. It was fucking hilarious. Later on that night, somehow these two men had to put their differences to the side because they would be involved in an 8-man tag match as they would team up with John Cena and Triple H to face JBL, Randy Orton, Big Show, and Umaga. Somehow that team won, but I remember Ric Flair did a dirty-ass low blow to Shawn Michaels from behind. And, of course, going into that WrestleMania weekend's Hall of Fame press conference, Charlotte Flair was there. Reed Flair, he was still alive. He was there. Everything was being documented for the WWE 24 series and all that. Just an emotional Ric Flair all throughout the night, going into his promo, all of that stuff. And it was just emotional as we hit the play button and resume here. So we're now at the 9-minute 43-second mark as Ric Flair is going up to the top rope. He always failed in this go round. Well, wait a minute. Shawn Michaels was about to intercept him, but Flair got in a punch, and boom! He gets in a diving crossbody, only for a near fall as Shawn gets back up with a headlock on the Nature Boy. Flair grabbing onto the left ankle of Shawn, and he was trying to go for an early figure four, but Shawn kicks him out of the ring. Shawn off the ropes. Nice, good sliding baseball slide, sending Flair into the announcer's table. Shawn now outside the ring, side apron, and a sling back shot. Ooh! Lower abdominal region hitting the edge corner there of the announcer's table. Both men are laid the hell out. Who's the referee? That referee, that looks like Charles Robinson, checking in, making sure Shawn's okay. Shawn letting him know, yeah, brother, I'm good. I'm good. Look at that slingshot. Look at that. If he did not legit hurt himself right there, God bless, because that just, my stomach hurt just looking at that. Look at that shit.
Mm-hmm. It looks like it hurt.
It looked like it hurt. All right, he's still laid out. Flair has now rolled back into the ring successfully. But look, you know Flair is not going to accept a count out, right? You know he's not going to accept a count out on this one. Shawn is dragging himself to the ring here. He is trying. Referee is at 8. Shawn gets in. All right, Flair with the stomps to the upper chest. Starting to pick up Nature Boy here. Great in-ring action so far. And this match went about 30 minutes long here as Shawn Michaels gets Irish whipped into the corner. Shawn Michaels pretty much had said to Ric Flair in regards to this match, don't worry about nothing, just follow my lead. You don't worry about nothing. I got some interesting quotes from Shawn Michaels, including his most recent excerpt from his Wrestling For My Life book that I'll read to you guys. The excerpt in a little bit there, as we see a near fall pin attempt by the Nature Boy, No Mas. Flair pacing himself around, and look, this Nature Boy Ric Flair right here at now at 59, he was pretty good. He was pretty good. Yeah, he wasn't the Ric Flair that we saw in the WCW days leading up to WCW going out of business once it was acquired by Vince McMahon, but he could still fucking go. He could still fucking go. Sure, he moved a lot slower and everything, but he could still fucking go. As we see the Nature Boy with a couple of stomps there onto HBK. Shawn slowly coming to his feet just in time to get a chop. Shawn trying to fight it right back with a open hand strike there, but no mas. Flair picking him up, looking for a spike. Yeah, he's got that back suplex. That connected right there. Good shit. Crowd is eating this up. This crowd is loving this. They are loving this. All right, we got ourselves another near fall here. Flair on top again, trying to go for another near fall. Shawn ain't having it. Shawn in the corner now. They're both trading shots, going left and right. I mean, this is just great psychology so far. I mean, you're picking up real emotion. This is with the sound down. You got, now listen to the commentators, you got real emotion, you got great freaking psychology that's going on here. Everything is making total freaking sense. They are literally painting the canvas right now. You don't see great storytelling like this in today's wrestling anymore. Right down to the point. You look at some of the stuff that you got going on in today's wrestling. Everybody's got to be so goddamn concerned with I got to get in a signature. I got to get in this spot. I got to get all this shit in and make it look as though I'm throwing everything in the kitchen sink with these false finishes and pinfall attempts. It's just overly exacerbated here as Shawn Michaels goes up to the top turnbuckle. Ric Flair's on the outside. Shawn looking for a back moonsault here. Flair almost didn't catch that. Almost didn't catch that. Looking good. Boy, I missed that hair on Shawn Michaels. Good old Shawn Michaels. Look at that. Look at that back moonsault. Look at that. Now watch Flair. Jesus. Now see, from that camera angle it looked like, but the other angle, clear as day, he didn't get him. And clear as day, he ain't fucking get him there. Both men struggling to their feet, getting back into the ring here. So we are now Flair was 59 and we're talking about 2008. 18 would have put him at 69, 19, 20, 21. So he's now 73 going on 74 today as he is going into this weekend's supposed last match. Shawn Michaels off the ropes, clothesline to the face of the Nature Boy. Both men are down. You know Shawn's getting ready to do his trademark kip up. And usually, hey, there you go. There's your kip up. There you go. And then usually what comes after that is up. Yep. You got a knee to the groin by Shawn Michaels. Right hand to the face of Ric Flair. Flair getting back up. Boom. Shawn connecting with another knee to the groin. Another punch to the face. Flair flopping. Shawn Michaels with a scoop up slam. Nice. Continuing to sell those hurt ribs from earlier. Shawn now going. Oh, could Shawn be looking for his flying trademark elbow drop? He could be. He's looking for it. Nobody does it better. Prettiest elbow drops. Shawn Michaels. Macho Man Randy Savage. CM Punk does a really good elbow drop as well. Those are my top guys for the elbow drop. Shawn Michaels connects with the elbow drop. He is in a corner now. You know what usually comes after this? Dial it up, y'all. Dial it up. I ain't talking about 619. I'm talking about some good old sweet chin music. Here we go. Shawn looks like he's kind of hesitating here. Shawn looks like he really doesn't want it. He's about to do it, but he stops himself. Oh, and it pays as Ric Flair scoops the legs, wraps him up in a figure 4 leg lock. Crowd is eating this up. They're now standing on their feet. They're looking at this. Shawn selling the hell out of that figure 4 leg lock. He probably has a lot on his mind right now. Probably can't believe he put himself in this position. Look at this. Look at this. Great freaking storytelling. Great freaking storytelling. Isn't it something? You can go back and you can watch something like this from... You can watch something like this from like 15 years ago. And it still holds up today.
Mm-hmm.
Impressions so far?
Seems like a great match. Seems like some really good storytelling. Yeah.
Both men now trading chops here. Flair with a nice little scoop takedown. Oh, wow. Nice. This could have been up. Get your shoulders up, Shawn. Get your shoulders up. There you go. That was a nice little reversal there. All right. Both men coming to their feet there. Shawn with a headlock. What's going on here? Flair's trying to pick him up. Shawn reverses. He's looking for a roll up here. Brings in his legs. Roll up. 1, 2, and a kick out. So it would have been better had Rick, he's right there at the ropes, should just grab the rope, and that would have, hey, rope break.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all good. There's still, Shawn would have chopped to Flair in the corner here. Flair trying to get out of it. Shawn tosses him back into that corner, continues on there with the chops. Now we're seeing a nice, strong Irish whip that Flair reverses. Oh, man, Shawn just backflipped over that damn corner post. Boom! From behind, Ric Flair going for that that lower leg there from behind. That's a calling card of Ric Flair. When he works on that leg and he works on it just enough, you know what he's getting ready to do. We're going to see a little bit of showboating from Flair. Yeah, here we go. He's got that same leg. He's thinking about it. Yeah. Woo! There you go. Nice little roll up there, Shawn. Look like we got a near fall. Shawn to his feet. Try to look for a little sidestep enziguri. No mas as Flair locks him right back into the figure 4 leg lock yet again. I can't on the sidebar. I can't stand it when motherfuckers are, have the first 3 rows in front of the ring and they're fucking standing up, which is taking away from the people behind. Like, can you be any more of a dick?
True.
Hate that shit. Flair still has the figure 4 applied. And it's reversed, but no, Flair gets it right back in there. He's putting some torque on it. And Shawn manages to get a hold of the ropes to force the rope break there. For those of you joining us, we're at the 21-minute, 14-second mark now of this Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 24, 2008, doing a watch-along here. All right, so we got Shawn in between the ropes here as he's barely on his knees. Charles Robinson, hey, man, you got to back off here. You got to let the man gather himself here. You got to let him do his thing. Sweet chin music. Shawn Michaels connects right to the dome of Ric Flair. Flair is laid out. And as many of you guys know in regards to this match, that was one of two. That was one of two sweet chin musics as Shawn just, with the last little bit of energy, puts that right arm on the chest of Ric Flair looking for a pinfall, but Flair kicks out. Remember, Shawn, grand total, looked for sweet chin music 3 times. The first one got countered into a figure 4, but this go around, Shawn is able to connect as Shawn is struggling to come to his feet, doing a fantastic job selling the hell out of the leg injury there from earlier. Shawn in the corner now. Shawn looking very frustrated. He knows what he needs to do. He's asking for, well, actually, he's demanding for Flair to get up. Stomping in the corner now with that right leg. He wants that fucking sweet chin music. He's looking for it. Get up, he's saying. Get up. Come on, get up. He's hobbling over to Ric Flair. He wants him to get up. It's like, come on, man, get up. Come on, honey. Get to this. You know what time it is. Let's go. Shawn Michaels back in the corner, fighting with emotion right here. He's stomping again. He's stomping. He's still stomping. Flair is still on all fours. Shawn, get up, you son of a bitch. Come on, man, get up. I love this. I love this storytelling. I love this. Shawn now coming from behind, trying to pick up Ric Flair as Flair manages to do a back kick, low blow to the crown jewels. Referee doesn't see it. Dirtiest player in the game connecting here. And a lazy cover. Shawn kicks out. 2 count. Loving this. Loving this. I am loving this. I mean, look, we're not gonna get anywhere near this kind of Ric Flair.
No.
This weekend. We're not. You know he's having a foot issue too. It starts with a P.
Plantar fasciitis?
Yes. So all that pressure that goes on that ball of the foot, you know, he already said, look, they can inject me with a whole bunch of, I'm not going to miss this match. I'm going to do it. As we see Shawn Michaels and Flair, they're wrapped up in a leg lock here. It looked like Shawn was trying to get in a figure 4 leg lock of his own here, but somehow it looked like they both are hurting the hell out of each other here. It kind of looks like as Flair is scrambling to get to the bottom rope, causes a rope break. Shawn's not letting go, though. Flair manages to grab a piece of the lower turnbuckle pad as a referee had snatched that. Flair taking the distraction opportunity to poke Shawn in the eyes. Flair gathering himself up here. Shawn coming to his feet, not sure what's going on. Flair with the roll up. 1, 2, and Shawn kicking out. Great crowd, great energy. A lot of energy. A lot of eyes are just focused on the ring. This is, you know, something else that's very different here as we're watching this all these years later, this match all these years later. You look at the fact that you don't see a bunch of motherfuckers in their phones. You don't see a bunch of motherfuckers with their phones out and I gotta record this. You know, I gotta put this on Twitch, you know, or Twitter. Was that Sweet Chin music? 25-minute, 36-second mark. Let's rewind that back. Would you technically say that was Sweet Chin music, or was that just a super kick? Let's rewind that back there. Yeah, but is you know, you don't see, nowadays when you see all these wrestling events, everybody just their phone is out or their face is in their phone and all that fucking shit. Back then, hard to believe that this was
watched it.
Yeah.
That's all. You just watched it.
Yeah. Same flow with your concerts, seeing a comedian. Now everybody has just got to be so just, you know.
Yeah.
Jesus, crazy, man.
Yeah. Gone are the days of just enjoying the moment.
Right. I mean, I'm down with taking a couple of pictures, but when you're just pretty much facing the gadget the whole time, it's like, yeah, nice chop. Yeah, I won't say that was Sweet Chin music. I'll just say that was a nice super kick to the face of to the face of Ric Flair there, as Flair just looks like he is out fucking cold. Shawn continuing to look frustrated. Look, I mean, look at how he's selling that emotion. Look at how he is selling being conflicted, you know, not traumatized, but just so conflicted with emotion as he drags himself up into the corner. Look at him. He's kind of crying now. He knows what he has to do here. Here's that hesitation, but that hesitation had cost him last time. All right, look at this. The greatest finish to a match ever you're about to see here. As a very conflicted Shawn. Look at Ric Flair. Come on. Come on. You know, the old gunslinger. I'm sorry. I love you. Come from Shawn. Wham. Sweet chin music. Flair. Knocked out. And look at that respect for the cover. Look at that. The hook to the leg. The full cover. Look at that respect. 1, 2, 3. And the match is over. And the match is over. Look at that. Words of wisdom there. You know, nice pleasantry exchange, kiss on the forehead. Shawn quickly making his exit. Look at that wide range of emotion there. Shawn quickly, I mean, and as he should not be celebrating this because he just took down his idol. He just took down essentially a mentor. He just took down a legend. You know, the fans, they're cheering because of the performance that they watch, but in no way, in no shape or form should Shawn Michaels be celebrating in this moment right here. Right? I want to read to you guys as we're now watching the replay of what all had came about here. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I'm sorry. I love you. I mean, that... They don't do great storytelling like that no more, man. No. They don't. They don't. They fucking don't. They fucking don't. Let me tell you, in retrospect, what Shawn Michaels had to say as we're watching Ric Flair. Now the emotion is really, really coming out there. Fans are giving him a standing ovation now as he's sobbing. Shawn said this. For me, it was mostly trying to stay focused while dealing with so many external emotions going on. Given all the amazing things he had done in his career.
That's Charlotte.
Yeah, way before she joined the WWE. Way before. Yes. His son Reed is also there as well. It needed to be extra special. I don't know if I took it too seriously, but I took it pretty darn serious. Just amazing. Just amazing. One of my all-time favorite moments. Of course, you went into that Monday's WWE Raw where it was a Ric Flair tribute show. And everybody from out the woodworks, everybody had came out. Past legends, current stars, everybody had came out to pay their respects. Even Undertaker, you know, not breaking character just yet, but even Undertaker made an appearance. Vince McMahon making a freaking appearance as well. Shawn Michaels coming out, pretty much having one of the few last words saying, have I honored you, my hero? I want to read to you guys a quote from Shawn Michaels in regards to this Ric Flair match. This is from Shawn Michaels' Wrestling for My Life book. This had came out, God.
That's probably been 8 to 10 years ago.
It feels like it, doesn't it? This came out, it looks like, in 2014. Wow. That sound about right to you?
Yeah.
Wow, time flies. Time fucking flies. So go to page 85 of this book. Now, I'm looking at my advanced copy here because I had got an advanced copy to, review and, get a feel for in preparation for interviewing Shawn and everything. So the page number might be different for you guys. But here's what he had said. One reason I believe the second part of my career was better than the first is because of the range and depth of emotions I brought into my job after my comeback, which was definitely, quick sidebar, which was definitely at full display in what we watched here in this match. Yes. That was a direct result of my faith. which allowed me to tap into real life emotions like joy, sadness, despair, peace, and conflict over doing right versus wrong, and then bring those into storylines and matches. A good example is WrestleMania 24 in 2008, when we brought real life into the storyline for my match against Ric Flair with his career on the line. I was 7 years old when Rick made his wrestling debut, and he was an idol of mine growing up. After it was announced I would wrestle Rick at WrestleMania, I received a call from Kenny Kent, my best friend in high school. Kenny and I had attended wrestling matches together in San Antonio and imitated various wrestling matches together, and imitated various wrestlers' moves against each other at home. "I can't believe it," Kenny said. "I mean, you are wrestling Ric Flair at WrestleMania. When you were 15 years old and we were watching wrestling on TV, did you ever think you would wrestle Ric Flair?" Shawn saying, "I didn't." A few days before WrestleMania, I popped up wide awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, and my entire match with Rick came to me. I hurried to the dinner table and started jotting down notes. Yes, it's pro wrestling. A bunch of men in their underwear fighting each other, but the element of that match that most compelled me was the story of a guy who admired another wrestler and had been inspired by him in the business. I paid attention to all the emotions I felt as I wrote out the match, and after I put the finishing touch on what proved to be one of the greatest endings in wrestling history, teardrops spilled onto the paper. When we got to Orlando, Florida for WrestleMania, I showed my notes to Rick and Michael Hayes. As they looked over the sheet, I observed Rick's eyes moistening. He reached over, patted me on the leg, and said, "Thank you." At the end of our match, I sent Rick to the mat with my signature move, the super kick. I slowly rose to my feet and retreated to the nearest corner. I sized up Rick, still lying in the center of the ring, and started to cue up the fans for my sweet chin music finisher. I stomped only once, though, then stopped and looked down to the mat. Rick struggled to his feet and motioned for me to come toward him. I told Rick, "I'm sorry, I love you," then finished him off with another super kick. I pinned Rick for the 3 count, then rolled over next to him on the mat, draped my arm around him, and planted a kiss on his forehead. I quickly exited the ring to leave Rick to have his farewell moment with the adoring fans. The emotion that night was not acting. I did love Rick. I went from watching him on TV to having him, one of our sport's true legends, accept me as a friend and peer. I can't overstate what he did for the business. There was a lot of real life going on in that ring, and it worked. Fans wept all around the stadium. I can attest to that, and I was at home, and I can remember me and my friends were weeping after that finish. Rick sobbed in the ring and then left to embrace his family in the first row. That match won Slammy Match of the That match won another Slammy Match of the Year award. Try saying that 10 times fast. That is a tongue twister. In fact, it has been named by numerous sources as one of the greatest matches of all time. Fans still talk about that ending. When I had showed Rick and Michael my notes when we set up the match, I had asked if my idea was okay. "This isn't a wrestling match," I told them. "This is a love story, for heaven's sake." I know that sounds very unwrestling-like. There was no bravado in the plan. Instead, it was filled with humility and vulnerability. The match reflected a change both in the business and in my personal life. There was a time when, if we would have attempted that match, we would have been booed out of the building for being wussies. Even if we had tried to pull that match off then, it would not have played out the same. I couldn't have tapped into the emotions before because they weren't there. I was selfish then, and selfishness and humility are polar opposites. I pulled off my part of the story because it was easy for me. And it was easy for me because it was real now. Mm-hmm. Thoughts from what I just read of that excerpt, and then the match overall, and then as we go into the weekend. Take that in any form, any order you want.
So, I think his idea turned out beautifully. I think he captured the moment and the emotion of the moment. And because what he portrayed and what he put out there was probably exactly what everybody was feeling at that time. So to do that type of match just turned into a great orchestrated plan, which carried out beautifully because it was that time. It was his last match. So I think it was a great match. I think the storytelling was amazing. I think the timing was perfect. And I think it was at just the right pace.
Yeah. And sadly, as many of us know, I don't like talking about it, but, as we all know, Flair didn't just ride off into the sunset. He continued to wrestle long after, it was unfortunate because ultimately he could have had a job for life in the WWE, whether it was as a backstage producer or being a matchmaker.
Hell, he could have
creative.
He could have been a Paul Heyman.
He could have been a Paul Heyman dude, right? Easily, he could have been a manager for. I mean, Lord knows, over the years, I had came up with really good ideas for. I remember one of the joints I had for the longest time. I said, man, if you ever wanted to do a updated Four Horsemen, I had Flair in the role of J.J. Dillon, and my guys were Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro. I can't quite picture who the other two guys. Oh, Miz. And I think this came at about the time after Miz had his first championship run, his first WWE championship run.
That would have worked.
I can't picture who the other guy was, but if you type in RCWR Four Horsemen or something along those lines, you'll see exactly, because I think I have the thumbnail of it. You guys will see exactly who I was picturing. But yeah, he would have had a job for life, but he wanted to wrestle. And I say that because, as we all know, he eventually went to TNA. But just think about this for a second. He gets that proper send-off from WWE, a nice, pretty little bow around it and everything. Then he goes and does this Hulkamania Australia tour. I refuse. This is like my one and only time that I will bring this shit up, right? Because I don't like looking at this part of Ric Flair's career. I like block it out of my mind and everything. But he did this Australia tour with Hulk Hogan, where in the main event he faced Hulk Hogan and lost all 4 times, and this was in the span of a week, right? And that losing streak would continue when he made his debut in TNA back in 2010. Can you guys take a guess who he lost to? None other than being in a tag match with AJ Styles, as they lost to Abyss and Hulk Hogan. Right down to the point when you look at his overall record in TNA, basically Ric Flair lost 9 times and only won 3 times. And the people that he whooped, Jay Lethal, and as we all know, funny ass, hilarious little segment there when Jay Lethal was doing his own little Ric Flair impersonation and all of that, right? I mean, the stuff of legends. It's like when you think of Ric Flair TNA, that's the number one thing that everybody thinks about. But he got a win over Jay Lethal, Doug Williams, and he won a 3-way match against AJ Styles and Matt Hardy. But the TNA, not his. I I don't look at that as one of his fondest moments. And look, it's nice to hear him say and confirm what fans had felt after the fact and seeing all that shit in real time. He said numerous times over the years, but the most recent was definitely on his podcast, as I think he had reminisced with Shawn Michaels. He had said, you know, if I could just turn back the hands of time, I would have never gone to TNA. I would have never done any of that stuff. I wouldn't have worked with Hogan. I wouldn't have done any of that. You know, but I needed the money.
Mm-hmm. I had already heard about his money issues and that. But yes, it was definitely not a good look for him. And I remember some of those matches, and they were really, you know, in the later point of his TNA career. And they were brutal. They really were brutal. I mean, you enjoyed as a younger fan, or at least for myself. I mean, grant you, I remember Ric Flair in his heyday, you know, watching with my uncle, but that was, you know, maybe once every 6 months. So as you get older, you don't quite remember it as much because you're away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But in watching his TNA stuff, it was like, why? It's just like he became a jobber.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to have something to do, just to basically make that paycheck.
Speaking of just to make that paycheck, Conrad Thompson was recently interviewed, and he responded to the scrutiny that Ric Flair, his father-in-law, of course, have been put under for this last match that's going to be going down this weekend. He responded to fans in this interview saying, you know, hey, man, this is nothing more than a fucking cash grab.
Yeah.
He says, here's the thing for me, as we're recording this. The Rolling Stones are touring. Why? A lot of people are against the idea of Rick wrestling, say, oh, he must need the money. Y'all reckon Mick Jagger needs money? No, Rick could comfortably retire just on his cameo earnings, much less he has the highest autograph circuit rate. He has the highest autograph circuit rate of anyone. I know there was a big uproar recently about another star who's in that business now, and people said, can you believe they charged that much? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was mentioning Undertaker, because we saw Undertaker's prices for C2E2 coming up next week, and he's only going to be there Sunday, by the way, for you guys. He wants $199 for a photo op. Maximum of 2 people can be in that same picture with Taker. If you want a autograph, that's going to be $199. If you want him to sign your belt, I believe that's going to be $249. If you want a unique inscription, $100.
Plus the admission into
the event, yes. Can you believe they charge that much? For Rick, it's almost double, so he's fine. This is more about the glory. And he wants to be on that stage and walk that out and be Ric Flair one last time. Given the fact that since he wrestled last, he lost his son and he nearly lost his life. And man, what's wrong with Ric Flair one more time? I'm all for it. His doctors are for it. He feels like he can do it. He's comfortable. His doctor's comfortable. Let's go, man. We're going to have some fun July 31st at Ric Flair's last match. I think it's his call. I know that there are a couple of pretty vocal people who try to motivate local municipalities and things like that to get them to stop this. But the reality is, it's up to Rick. This is America. This is what we do. What's the difference between some of these touring acts who are all over the world playing their ass off and losing 12 pounds of sweat a night and all this, performing their shows, and Rick doing his thing? It's a tag match, guys. If you're expecting a 5, 6, or 7-star affair, Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, Bryan Danielson, hard hitting, that's not what this is going to be. Nope. You know what this is going to be? Fun. Mm-hmm. I agree with part of what he's saying, but at the same time, he mentioned it. The heart attacks. Like, you know, we understand where you're coming from, Conrad, but the fucking health issues, the alcohol issues. He's now running around with a pacemaker and all this other shit, right? You know, he was knocking on heaven's door not that long ago, and He's at the age of 73 going on 74. You can understand why people have the trepidations that they do, even if it is a tag match. And obviously he's going to be doing a lot less than what we saw of him just now in this watch along. Surely, and I bet you the person that was interviewing Conrad, I bet you they didn't push back because they don't want to come off like, we would have pushed back. Respectfully, we would have pushed back. You gotta sometimes just go for it, and that's where most fans, the card. I saw the build up to the card. The card itself is pretty good, but that match itself, you just can't help but oh, dude, please come out of that alive.
Right. Yeah.
We all could be in agreement. The shit that went down in TNA, it sucked,
But on the other flip note of that, they're going to protect him as much as they can.
Exactly. And he's got some of the best. I mean, no matter how some people may feel about, no matter how you may feel about Jeff Jarrett, when's the last time, if ever, you ever heard, man, that person that had wrestled Jeff Jarrett got fucked up? Like, never. Jay Lethal, like, same fucking thing. Andrade, same fucking, I mean, he's in really good hands. Mm-hmm. He's in really good hands of people that, when it's all said and done, he might have not been able to get access to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat or FTR, but when it's all said and done, he's got, working with him, he's got some of the absolute best in their own respected right. And, it should be good. I mean, look, I'm going to be checking it out for curiosity, but also because the card itself leading up to that main event, card itself is kick-ass. We'll dive into the card more on Wednesday's show, but the card itself is pretty badass. So I'm looking forward to that. Final thoughts, though, in regards to just the Ric Flair watch along and what's to come of this Sunday, and yeah.
Well, I mean, the watch along was nice. It was nice to see it in the match in its entirety. What's to come of this Sunday is he's going to be very protected. He'll do as much as he can. Hopefully it will be fun and entertaining. Obviously that's what he wants, I'm sure. And obviously his doctors want him to be protected. His doctors want him to come out of this, not alive, because that's extreme, but, unscathed. So, and he wants his Rocky Balboa. He wants his last ride off into the sunset.
It's funny you mentioned that, because now I can't help but wonder, how old was Sylvester Stallone when he did Rocky Balboa? Rocky Balboa came out in 2006.
He probably was 56.
So Sylvester Stallone is 76 currently. So if you rewinded 10 years, he would have been 66 in 2012. So 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 65, 64, 63, 62, 61, 60. So Flair
beaten that by 12 years.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Well, actually, what's actually interesting is, didn't you say in 2008 Flair was 59?
Yes, I did.
So in Balboa, he was 60. Interesting. Anyway, just thought process on what he was saying.
To your point, I wouldn't be surprised if also, I want, and anybody that gets an opportunity to interview Ric Flair or Shawn Michaels leading up to this match or even after the fact, ask if that WrestleMania 24 run, if that was at all inspired too by Rocky Balboa. Because remember, Rocky Balboa came out in 2006. Mm-hmm. And this WrestleMania 24 match went down in 2008. You can't tell me they weren't influenced by, come on.
At least a little bit.
Come on. It's the talk of the town. Come on.
True. I'll make
a bold prediction. What we just watched. Out of 100% of Ric Flair's offense in that WrestleMania 24 match, I'd be shocked to see 50%.
Me too.
I would be shocked to see 50%. So what do I mean when I say 50%? I would be shocked to see repeatedly Ric Flair taking back suplexes, being tossed off of the top turnbuckle, being tossed outside the ring through the double ropes and all that, going through an announcer's table. Ric Flair's trademark, Irish whip him, send him into the ropes, and then he flips over the rope, runs it, then he gets clothesline. I would be shocked to see all of that be part of the repertoire. I'd be very shocked. I'm expecting is a ground matted type of Ric Flair. Mm-hmm. He will only leave his feet where it counts the most. I can picture him leaving his feet maybe a grand total of 4-5 times max during that match. Mm-hmm. Most of his shit's gonna be ground game. I can see him being in a position where he's going to keep being double teamed on. They're going to keep him from out of the corner of Andrade. I can see some shit going on like that. I can see Andrade getting a hot tag. He's coming in as the big savior, get a nice pop from the crowd, and then they're going to work on fucking Andrade for a good little bit. Give Ric Flair that nice big comeback, hot tag hero kind of moment, right? I can see shit ending with Andrade and Ric Flair, since they're now officially father and son-in-law. I can see them doing a fucking double finish with their trademark moves, maybe a double figure 4 leg lock on both guys. I am already picturing how this is going to lay out. So it's going to be interesting to see what actually comes to. But I wouldn't be surprised if most of you guys are hearing me say this right now. If you guys are like, yeah, that's kind of how I'm picturing it as well. We'll see. But out of 100% for his offense, I'm going with 40% at most.
Yeah. I actually was thinking a little lower than that. But
even Hassan agrees. Hassan's like, Hassan agrees. He says, I see it exactly going down just like that as well. That was a good fun watch on. Look, if you guys would love for us to do more watch alongs and nice little stories, setting it up and all that good stuff, let us know in the comments, and we'll definitely take it under advisement. At least we were able to provide folks with a link, the timestamp where we were watching, and give you guys the great context and all that, and setting it up, But that was a lot of fun. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and call it. This episode is DONE done. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit that like button. That really helps us out a ton, depending on where you're checking this out. Shout out if you're accessing this via YouTube. Make sure you definitely show that love and hit that subscribe button, that like, all that good jazz, so you don't miss out on future content that comes your way. I'll be with you guys this Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. We'll talk some Dynamite fallout. We got a CM Punk health update. Not looking too good. We'll get into that on Wednesday. We'll get into the very latest on the Jonathan Gresham fallout with Tony Khan wanting his exit as far as new updates go. So it's going to be a nice, fun, well-rounded show. I promise you guys. Be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Did I plug our Twitter and all that yet? I don't think I did. Check out the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. She's the beautiful and the lovely Tammy Sanders here. We wish all of you all to be safe and, most importantly, be kind to one another. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will catch you guys for SummerSlam weekend and Ric Flair's last match weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. It's a pretty good week. This has been a pretty good week for the wrestling fans so far. Whether you're into the WWE or the AEW or just independent stuff in general, this is a really good, fun week for wrestling fans, and it's nice to see that the month of July is going out on a very strong note. Be well, y'all. Take care.
Bye-bye.